Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to Wheel Takes, a podcast that is normally about the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan and then Brandon Sanderson, but is right now about The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I'm Allie, and I've read all of The Hunger Games.
I am Gus, and I am sick. And I have read The Hunger Games up through Book 2, Chapter 25. I'm going to try not to cough into the mic.
And this episode will be covering through Chapter 25, and then Gus is going to go away and read he's first going to give us his opinions on what's going to happen. And then he's going to go away. He's going to read the last 2 chapters of the book.
Yeah.
And then he's going to come back and give us his thoughts.
Yeah, so this overall episode is going to be
all of Catching
it,
Fire.
But right now, I don't know what happens at the end.
Yes.
Yet.
I thought this might be a fun experiment.
By the end of the episode, I will.
Yeah.
Because there will be a break, and then all of a sudden I'll come back and I'll be like, I was wrong about everything.
Or maybe you were right about everything.
Or maybe I'll come back and be like, I was right about everything. Or maybe I'll come back and be like, I was right about some things.
That's probably the most likely outcome.
I don't know, though. I'm usually... I have a lot of fun being wrong in this.
It is fun when you're wrong.
This is really enjoyable. I was looking back at some of our earlier... Because my parents were listening to them when we were with them. Some of our earlier stuff. And it's really fun to listen back and hear me go like, Rue is going to be vicious.
Vicious. A murderer. Rue the Flare.
Allie.
Lives on in infamy.
How's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
I am 3/4 of the way through Wedding-geddon. The weddings have been fun.
Yeah, Gus and I have been, I don't know if we've talked about this, to a wedding every weekend in June. We're very tired.
It's still true.
It's fun, but tiring.
Yep. Yeah, good shit. I think did I take notes? I did? Oh, hello, Petey. I did take notes for, not the first 2 chapters. And did the dog just lie on your phone? Mm-hmm. Good. What a legend.
Well, I don't need it.
I did not take notes for the first 2 chapters, but I have notes for 23 through 25.
Okay. So, last time, Gus, where did we leave off?
Missed. Oh,
Missed.
Dude, Rip Mags and also several other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your attachment to her was sweet.
I knew she would die, and now I am riven.
Mags the Flayer is no more.
By the mist. The mist made me feel riven in twain. If you got that joke, you're a fucking nerd.
I don't get it.
Yes.
But I'm not a fucking nerd. Anyway, so chapter 21, Gus.
Yes.
Tiny searing stabs is how it starts.
Terrible.
Incredible.
I would rather not.
Suze.
That's what my throat feels like in the morning right now.
Tiny searing stabs.
Yeah.
Well, I had that cold before you had that cold, so I completely understand. Wherever the droplets of mist touch my skin is the tiny searing stabs. So she screams at them to run. Finnick snaps awake instantly, rising to counter an enemy. But when he sees the wall of fog, he tosses the still sleeping Mags onto his back and takes off. PETA is on his feet, but not as alert. I grab his arm and begin to propel him through the jungle after Finnick.
Here's the thing about this dude. I still wish he hadn't behaved the way he did.
I think all of us would prefer someone in their 20s not hit on a 17-year-old.
Yeah, but, he has been nothing but a gentleman since then.
Yeah.
Now, watch as the second I warm to him, he turns out to be like, actually, I was lying all the time. I just wanted to floss with your jugular.
Finnick the Flare.
Yeah, Finnick the Flare.
So PETA's slow, much slower than usual.
Well, he's got, a recent cardiac arrest.
That'll
do ya. That'll get you good.
That'll fuck you up.
That'll knock you out right well.
Bad. Yeah, that's not good.
His leg, it catches in a knot of creepers. Terrible.
I think that's just vines.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, it's just vines. And it seems to be a neurotoxin, this fog, because wherever it touches them, they go limp.
Yes. So there is some kind of neurotoxin thing to it.
Oh, and
it's just mean.
Yeah. And she shackles herself to PETA and is like, you're not getting out of here. I'm not getting out of here unless you're getting out of here. And it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So droplets spring through. So we seem to move a little faster, but never enough to afford a rest. And the mist continues to lap at our heels. Droplets spring free of the body of vapor. They burn, but not like fire. Less a sense of heat and more of intense pain as the chemicals find our flesh, cling to it, and burrow down through the layers of skin. Ow.
I don't want it.
Our jumpsuits are no help at all. We may as well be dressed in tissue paper for all the protection they give.
Pretty shitty. Pretty shitty. Oh, and so Finnick is like, I can't carry both of you and Mags. Mm-hmm. Right? Because there's this whole thing where he's trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, because they're falling behind.
And then
it's not good.
He turns to Mags and he's like, I'm sorry. I can't do it. And she just nods at him and walks off.
Into the fog.
And it's really... Hold on. How does he word it?
So Peeta's face is drooping. Katniss can't move her arm because she's got spasms going up her arm.
Yeah. Oh, she tries to carry Mags.
So Finnick says to Mags, it's no good.
No. Yeah. Sorry. He says that to Katniss.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's no good. I'll have to carry him. Can you take Mags? And so Katniss says, yeah.
But then she starts getting got.
But yeah, she's like, she's not sure she can carry her.
Yeah. And they keep on tripping and falling, and Finnick comes back, to which I'm like, all right, this guy is objectively
says,
on the up and up now.
Yeah, she says, it's no use. Can you take them both? Go on ahead. I'll catch up. I can see Finnick's eyes green in the moonlight. I can see them as clear as day, almost like a cat's with a strange reflective quality. Maybe because they're shiny with tears. No, I can't carry them both. My arms aren't working. So his arms are all fucky, and he says, I'm sorry, Mags, I can't do it. What happens next is so fast, so senseless, I can't even move myself to stop it. Mags hauls herself up, plants a kiss on Finnick's lips, then hobbles straight into the fog. Immediately, her body is seized by wild contortions, and she falls to the ground in a horrible dance. So that's it.
And then she dies, and I was sad.
And there's a cannon blast.
Yeah. But hey, she got everyone else out.
She did. She's a fucking hero.
She's a legend.
She's awesome.
She's the best.
Mags is the fucking best.
MVP. I was right. She is the MVP.
Yeah. A sad ba-na-ba-da for Mags, the Flayer.
Yeah. Oh, she's well.
A badass. And you think about it, and it's like, Finnick's probably known her.
She was his mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them.
I imagine they were probably very close.
Probably.
That's very sad.
That's real. Well, yeah, they say that his family was Mags and the girl who got picked. Annie. Yeah. Flood girl.
Yes, Flood girl. That they've all been friends.
Yeah.
Known each other.
Pretty sad, man. Pretty fucking sad.
Sucks a lot. Sucks a lot.
But I mean, he gets these two out. He gets them down to the water.
So yeah, they run. And she's freaking out because she thinks parts of me are dead or clearly dying, and Mags is dead. This is something I know, or maybe just think I know, because it makes no sense at all. So she's having some trauma.
Yeah, of course she is.
As it will happen when you watch someone die in front of you senselessly and horribly.
Yeah. Oh, and they see the monkeys right off the bat.
So the fog has stopped kind of randomly. It begins to rise upward now, as if being slowly vacuumed into the sky.
They got out of the wedge.
Mm-hmm. We watch until it has all been sucked away and not the slightest whisper remains.
It's a clock.
It's a clock.
I should...
What did you think when you saw that?
I went, oh, God, duh.
Yeah.
Duh. I came up with this whole thing. I was like, it's 12 trials, and then they blow up the arena. And everyone is like, Gus, you stupid idiot. That's
no one thought you were a stupid idiot. They were just like... There is a simpler explanation.
Yeah, it's a clock. It's 12 wedges. Of course it's a clock.
It's a clock.
And I love that.
And then there's the lightning that happens as
lightning
chime,
lightning is midnight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, midnight and noon is lightning. There's the fog. Mm-hmm. There's monkeys. There's mockingjays. One of them is just a big wave. Annihilates everything in the wedge. One, I'm blanking a little bit right now because I read this like a week and a half ago. One of them is some kind of horrible monstrosity. Mm-hmm. They don't know what it is. It's just some kind of monstrosity. That might be all the ones we know, I think.
Did you say the monkeys?
I said the monkeys, yeah. Mm-hmm. Monkeys are 3 o'clock. Mockingjays are 4. Mm-hmm. I'm missing something.
Okay, lightning.
Oh, blood rain. Blood rain.
Blood rain. The blood rain.
Yeah,
yes,
one of them is
yes.
blood rain.
Which, lovely. Thank you.
Real good.
Why?
Why stop, why make it sensible? Also, wasn't that one of the...
It's not a subtle metaphor.
Wasn't blood rain one of the things in Egypt
Oh, so you're thinking it's like
The plagues?
like the plagues?
Wasn't that one of the plagues?
The water turned to blood.
Water turned to blood. Okay.
Yeah.
I know her thing is Rome, not Judeo-Christian mythology necessarily, but
why not?
You know, I was like, well, you know, blood rain,
It's all related.
That's biblical. What?
It's all related.
Yeah. Yeah, it all ties in.
Yeah. But yeah, Peeta sees the monkeys, but the monkeys don't attack them.
No, not yet. They're not on the wedge, I think.
Yeah, they just kind of look at them. Or maybe it's not time yet.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. Oh, and they find out that the water makes the mist, it's soluble. So this neurotoxin stuff has like penetrated into their skin. Mm-hmm. And if they dip their body in the water, it's extremely painful, but it draws it out.
That's nice.
Yeah, but it's also like agonizingly painful. And Finnick is, you know, effectively immobilized.
Right.
Most of his upper body, I think, has been...
So that hurts like fuck.
Yeah, they have to like very carefully lever him into the water bit by bit because they're worried he's going to die of shock.
Right.
Which
and that is
could
a
happen.
concern.
That is a thing that can happen.
It's a good concern. But then that just makes the whole thing go slower.
Yep. Well,
that blows.
See over here. We got it. So yeah, because they.
Excuse me. Are you leading this or am I leading?
I'm excited and I want to finish.
Okay. So
sorry, I got excited.
Yeah, they get to the water, and they realize that if she soaks the limb, I soak the poison out of my wounds. Peeta seems to be doing the same, but Finnick backed away from the water at first touch and lies face down on the sand, either unwilling or unable to purge himself. Honestly, lying face down on the sand, very relatable.
I hate sand.
Oh, that's true.
Never mind.
I know, Anakin over here.
I'm not gonna do it.
Finally, when I've survived the worst, opening my eyes underwater, sniffing water into my sinuses and snorting it out, and even gargling repeatedly to wash out my throat, I'm functional enough to help Finnick. Some feeling has returned to my leg, but my arms are still riddled with spasms. I can't drag Finnick into the water, and possibly the pain would kill him anyway. So I scoop up shaky handfuls and empty them on his fists. Since he's not underwater, the poison comes out of his wounds just as it went in wisps of fog that I take great care to steer clear of. Peeta recovers enough to help me. He cuts away Finnick's jumpsuit. Somewhere he finds 2 shells that work much better than our hands do. You just know some fucking Capital women watched them cut his clothes off.
Oh,
and
they
like,
loved
Yay!
it. You know the camera work was perverse when they did this.
Can't. Anyway, I love always being like, and let's check in with our audience. Being the worst,
being
great.
Horrible, being awful. Unless there's a rebellion, I don't think there is. I have theories on what's going to happen at the end. We'll get there when we get there.
You think something's happening?
Maybe. I don't know.
It'll be a very uneventful finish. Nothing interesting is happening.
I just think you can't have Plutarch Havensby flash a Mockingjay at her and have it come to nothing.
Sure.
I don't know.
So they concentrate on soaking Finnick's arms first, since they've been so badly damaged. And even though a lot of white stuff pours out of them.
Did you say it begins at midnight or it opens at midnight? Sorry, I'm going back to something.
I know. I just was laughing at the white stuff pouring out of him.
Come is funny. But we got to be serious.
I've never felt more dismissed in my life.
Sorry.
I know you were just thinking really hard about something. Yes. Come is fun.
Yes. Semen. Yes. Okay. No, that's good.
Anyway.
But going back to what I said. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it gets better because he lies there, eyes shut, giving an occasional moan.
Well, that's what happens sometimes when white... All right. Okay. Hi, Mom.
Anyway, continuing on. Yes. Come is funny.
Did Plutarch Havensby say it starts at midnight or it opens at midnight?
What?
He shows her the pocket... Give me the book. Hold on. Give me the book.
Oh, him showing her the watch could have been a clue.
To
it being a clock.
He did. Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it just occurred to me that it was I've never known all these years that he was giving her a very obvious clue to what it was.
Oh, she thinks that to herself later on in the book. She goes, "Oh, he gave me a hint."
Then I completely forgot about that.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, you read these 13 years ago, 15 years ago?
You mean you don't remember every detail of a book you read 15 years ago? Something like that. 16, maybe 14, maybe. I was in high school. It's been a minute.
It starts at midnight. Boo. Phooey. All right.
Why?
Well, one of my theories is that this wire, and I'll get into this more later. One of my theories was that this wire connecting to the tree could somehow like short out part of the force field in that wedge, and they could get out that way. My other theory is a lot more depressing, and I hope I'm wrong about it.
Okay. That could be.
And I was like, if he said it opens at midnight, that has a double meaning. Open as in starts, but also a hint, you can get out in the midnight wedge.
Okay.
Because I'm not totally convinced that this guy is pure evil, because he had a Mockingjay on his watch, and he showed it to her really fast.
All right, so
and
you're
I
not
can't let that go.
Guillotine Plutarch Havensby.
I might be.
What about Finnick?
Finnick just deserves a little jail as a treat. Just a little bit.
Really? Because last episode you were like tearing his head off.
Well, and then he did a bunch of really cool shit. I don't know. Look, his introduction was rough. You showed me the scene in the movie. Y'all motherfuckers are horny as hell out there.
I just showed you to be clear, because I know we're planning on doing, Gus watches the movies for the first time.
Yeah.
I only showed him for context because I think Finnick comes across creepier in the book.
He does.
Than he does in the movie.
Because in the book, you're in Katniss's head, and she's like, I'm immediately uncomfortable by how naked he is, and by how he's acting, and everything else, and he's all up in my face. And she's extremely uncomfortable, and we're in her head. And in the movie, he's funny.
Yeah.
He's less undressed. He is more covered.
And it's less lecherous.
They look the same age.
Around the
roughly,
same age.
Because Jennifer Lawrence does not look,
super young.
Like a teenager.
I mean,
she looks like someone in her early 20s.
Yeah, she looks a little bit older than her character is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like less creepy overall. And so I was like, well, I think many of them may be thinking of the scene in the movie where it's a little toned down.
Yes.
In terms of
much
its
toned down.
Creepiness.
It's barely an issue at all.
Right.
It's like a lighthearted, and that's it.
He's just being a little flirty.
Yeah.
But in a way that's like, I'm on to you.
Yeah. And maybe that was the subtext in the book, but Katniss was so uncomfortable with it that I was like, team, fuck this guy.
Team, fuck this guy. Yeah.
Set him on fire, as you say.
Guillotine.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Sorry.
Get that head off his body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they teabag Finnick into the water.
You gotta.
That was not intended on purpose. They kind of dip him. That's not what I meant.
They teabag Finnick, huh?
That's not what I meant.
Well, you said it. It's out there now.
So they lightly teabag Finnick.
All right.
I meant how, you kind of dip something slowly into the tea.
Yeah, but I grew up playing Halo. It's not the same thing.
All right, but Finnick slowly begins to revive. His eyes open, focus on us, and register awareness that he's been helped. I rest his head on my lap, and we let him soak about 10 minutes with everything immersed from the neck down. Peeta and I exchange a smile as Finnick lifts his arms above the seawater. So his head's the worst part, so they help him sit up and basically, baptize him.
Yeah.
And his throat is still too raw to speak. Poor thing. So she's going to try to tap a tree to make it so that he can talk. And they're not really sure why Finnick got the worst of the fog. Probably because he was carrying everybody and wasn't as careful.
Yeah,
And that he's the biggest. And she's really confused as to why he would abandon Mags for Peeta.
Because Peeta has a golden tongue.
And she's like, I still don't understand what happened there. Why he essentially abandoned her to carry Peeta. Why she not only didn't question it, but ran straight to her death without a moment's hesitation.
Yeah.
Was it because she was so old that her days were numbered anyway? Did they think that Finnick would stand a better chance of winning if he had Peeta and me as allies? Probably. But the haggard look on Finnick's face tells me now is not the moment to ask.
No,
probably
he's sad.
never is the moment to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems to have been an emotionally devastating moment for him.
Well, yeah, yeah, a little bit rough, but it's because we learned this later is because if anybody can Mark Antony a crowd, it's PETA.
Oh, the all is also gone.
Oh, they lost the all?
Yeah.
Oh. But they have something that is... I thought they didn't lose the all.
Nope, they lost the all. I wonder what happened to the all. Mags must have
okay.
either dropped it or taken it into the fog with her.
Sure.
Anyway, it's gone. So it's gone, but Finnick's doing pretty well in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's
at
being
one point
goofy.
he goes underwater so long, she's freaked out he's drowned, but his head pops up next to her. And she gets scared.
Goofy.
By it.
He's a goofy guy. And then there's a million fucking monkeys. And they're just looking at them.
During that time, they've assembled. Jesus.
Don't like that.
Listen, any animals assembling and then just staring at you, that's unnerving. Right? It doesn't matter what kind of animal they are.
Only Avengers can assemble.
One time, back when we first got Schooner, we were letting him out every few hours. That's what they said to do at the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was every 3 hours I'd get up with the dog and
For those who
send him
don't know,
outside.
Schooner was our first dog.
Our first dog, yeah. And at 5 a.m., we had all of these crows on
so fucking
a
many
line.
crows, yeah.
It was the first night one of us would get up with the dog, and I just happened to see that. And usually, for the first couple days we had him, I was the one getting up at that time to let him out. And then, and as he got acclimated to living in a house, and then one day you did it. You took over to let him out at that time, and you went out. And you came back and you were like, that was the fucking scariest thing, because they were all the crows would just be on a line, watching you let the dog out and then going back in. And it's super unnerving to have that many animals just staring at you.
Crows are creepy. They're smart, too. Real smart.
Really smart. That's
remember.
the other unnerving thing about them is they're really intelligent.
Yep.
And they hold grudges.
Yeah, they do.
They remember. So I was like, Schooner, be on your best behavior, because fuck. So yeah, they're all staring, not 5 or 10, but scores of monkeys way down the limbs of the jungle trees. The pair we spotted when we first escaped the fog felt like a welcoming committee. This crew feels ominous.
Oh, and he's trying to get a spile in the tree, and they're like, hey, come here, bud.
Yeah, and
walk,
they're trying to
walk
be...
slowly away.
Yeah, she's like, PETA, I need your help with something. And he goes, okay, just a minute. This is men.
No, this is you.
Oh yeah,
This is you. Anytime I try to subtly get your attention for something.
Yeah. I'm like,
this is
what?
the funniest thing. We'll be at let's say we're at dinner at a social function or something, and I try to get your attention just for something hey,
Sorry.
it's late. Maybe we should go or something. We're in a conversation. I'll pat you on the leg or something. I'll try to do it, and you just stop talking to whoever you're talking to, turn around and go, what? Why did you pat me on the leg? Did you need to tell me something? And I'm like, no, well, not now. No.
It's called neurodivergence.
I love it. It's so endearing.
And then I realized right after I say it that
I think it's cute.
that you were trying to
Yeah.
do something subtly. But whatever. Now everyone who'll ever meet me knows that I have no ability to keep something
It's more fun that way.
close to the vest. Well, some things I can keep close to the vest,
Yeah.
but not things like that.
No.
Not social cues. So yeah, he says, okay, just a minute. I think I've just about got it. Yes, there. Have you got the spile? And she goes, I do, but we found something you better take a look at. Only move toward us quietly so you don't startle it. For some reason, I don't want him to notice the monkeys or even glance their way. There are creatures that interpret mere eye contact as aggression.
Yeah, monkeys
People
do
should
that,
know
I
that.
think, yeah.
People should know that.
Also baring teeth.
Also, dogs do that.
Yeah.
Dogs interpret pretty much every animal on this planet.
Most of them.
Interpret intense eye contact
Unless
as
you know them
aggression.
really well, I think.
Unless you know them well. Yeah, dogs that know you well, if they stare into your eyes, it's loving.
Yeah.
But if you don't know a dog very well,
Don't
if
look
you
at
stare
in the
into
eyes
the dog's
for a
eyes,
long time.
this also may save people, their dogs getting bitten.
Yeah.
Because if another dog is staring your dog down and your dog is staring them down, that is not friendly.
No, they don't like each other. They're not getting along.
Yeah. Don't introduce them.
There's a reason people joke about dogs sniffing butts. It's because you want them to do that.
Yes. If your dog, and I've done a lot of research on this, if your dogs meet and they stay nose to nose,
it's not good.
And they do not turn to sniff each other's butts, that's a bad greeting. Walk away, because that's going to escalate. And it's so annoying knowing that when other people don't out in the wild, because you see a lot of dog interactions where you're like, that's not a friendly greeting. That's not a friendly greeting. That's not a friendly greeting. But you're like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, it's none of my business.
That's going to interfere and be annoying. And they're just going to be like, oh, this Karen out here telling us what's good for our dogs. But if you stay quiet about it, inevitably, like 6 seconds later, one of them tries to bite the other.
Or barks or snaps or something.
Like, I remember we were out to dinner with your parents, and there were these people that were introducing their dogs to each other, and they were like cooing over them. They were like, oh my gosh, look how like friendly they're being. That's so sweet.
It's
Is
like
this your
they're
friend?
kissing.
Oh, it's like they're kissing, because the dogs are like nose to nose and they are not moving. And I just mumbled to myself, I'm like, that's not a good greeting. Those dogs are going to bite each other. That's not a good greeting. And literally a second after I said it.
Not necessarily bite, but
one of them tries to bite the other.
Oh, shit. Well, all right.
Literally a second later. And then the like owners of that dog were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He's never been like that before. And I was sitting there going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And your parents went, how did you know that? And I went, I made it my business to know a lot about dogs when we got a dog, especially because our dog got attacked by another dog. And I didn't know this information. And now when I look back on that exchange, I'm like, oh, that is because they did not greet each other well. And I didn't know. And this information is powerful. Anyway, most animals do not like direct eye contact. If you meet a dog and you do not know that dog, do not get right in their face and stare them in the eyes. They will interpret that as aggression.
Probably.
It's
not universal.
Even if it's a very nice dog.
Yeah.
Things happen. No animal eye contact.
These monkeys in particular don't like it because PETA kind of walks back to the beach. There's like, something is going on that's weird. And then he's just like, maybe I should take a look.
Yeah. So he goes. Yeah, he turns to them and goes, okay. And he begins to move through the jungle. And although I know he's trying hard to be quiet, this is one of my favorite running bits, is PETA can't be quiet.
He cannot.
This has never been his strong suit, even when he's sound on two legs. So he's just like crashing through the forest at them. But it's all right. He's moving. The monkeys are holding their positions. He's just 5 yards from the beach when he senses them. His eyes only dart up for a second, but it's as if he's triggered a bomb. The monkeys explode into a shrieking mass of orange fur and converge on him.
And then they just start murdering monkeys.
I've never seen any animal move so fast. They slide down the vines as if the things were greased, leap impossible distances from tree to tree.
This part was kind of rough.
This kind of reminds me of that scene in Tarzan where the baboons are mad at Jane.
Yeah.
Like, I picture something similar. This part was kind of rough.
It was kind of rough because they're just like slaughtering monkeys.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Fangs there.
I have to assume this is not in the movie.
I don't remember.
Because
it's been a long time.
I feel like for monkeys are, very human adjacent.
Yeah.
Right? And she's describing like shooting monkeys in the head.
I can't recall.
And I understand why she has to do that. It all makes sense. But I'm also like, this is something I'm glad I'm reading and not seeing.
I can't recall how this scene goes. Now I'm really curious.
Monkeys are fucking terrifying.
Monkeys can be fucking terrifying. All animals have the capacity to be terrifying.
And it's a good fight. It's a good fight. They start fighting.
Like, deer kill a lot of people.
Yeah, deer nearly killed us.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was different.
That was a car, yeah, I know.
That was a car, but deer independently, don't fuck with deer.
No.
Anyway. So hackles raised, claws shooting out like switchblades. Jesus.
Wolverine!
I may be unfamiliar with monkeys, but animals in nature don't act like this. So they're definitely mutations.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of monkey killing.
Lot.
It's pretty bad.
Oh, and then the morphling sacrifices herself for PETA.
She has no more arrows. And
There's this one monkey, it throws, it's like slow motion. This monkey throws, you can read it, I'm sorry.
So PETA turns to see, just to look at Katniss.
Because she asks him for his quiver.
So she wants his quiver. And as he turns, a monkey lunges out of a tree for his chest. I have no arrow, no way to shoot. I can hear the thud of Finnick's trident finding another mark and know his weapon is occupied. PETA's knife arm is disabled as he tries to remove the sheath. I throw my knife at the oncoming mutt, but the creature somersaults, evading the blade, and stays on its trajectory. Weaponless, defenseless, I do the only thing I can think of. I run for PETA to knock him to the ground, to protect his body with mine, even though I know I won't make it in time. She does, though. Materializing, it seems, from thin air. One moment nowhere, the next reeling in front of PETA. Already bloody, mouth open in a high-pitched scream, pupils enlarged so that her eyes seem like black holes. The morphling from District 6 throws up her skeletal arms as if to embrace the monkey, and it sinks its fangs into her chest. And that is the end of chapter 21. Seuss. My God, woman. You just do that. Chapter 22, Gus, do you have notes for us?
Not till 23.
Not till 23.
Are we going to talk about that?
Do you want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
They're clearly trying to set it up so PETA wins.
You think so?
Yes. All right, go ahead. Keep moving.
Well, why do you think that?
He's the only one who can Mark Antony the public. Katniss is a figurehead. She is equally effective as a martyr. She has said this herself.
Mm-hmm.
PETA is not as effective as he is more valuable alive. Because as I think Bree put it, nobody can stand next to the raging son of PETA when she was talking about my journey from fuck this guy to this.
Yeah, everyone falls in love with PETA.
He's great. I bet he's going to do something stupid later. I'm going to regret ever saying this because it keeps fucking happening.
What?
But
what could he possibly do at this point?
Die?
Oh, well, that's true.
That would be a stupid thing he would do. And she's the narrator, so she doesn't. Unless
unless Mockingjay is PETA's book. And
that would be disappointing for a different reason, because then we've killed the female main character.
That's true.
That would be a different kind of disappointing.
I think Suze is smarter than that.
Yes.
Methinks.
I think she's much smarter than that.
So you think PETA might die?
I think PETA might die. You know, you can't do it 2 books in a row where they both miraculously get out. You can. It's not satisfying. Or she'll find a way to make it satisfying.
But what if they Avoxed PETA?
That would be the appropriate punishment for him. Because he's very good with his words.
Whoa.
So, yeah, that would be kind of the move, frankly.
Well, what if PETA's been putting on a front this whole time? What if he defects?
That would be a capital T twist. And I don't...
Not in a good way?
I don't really think that's her bag, and I would kind of be like, okay, well, fuck you too, then.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know.
So you don't think he's just going to turn around and try to murder Katniss?
It's pretty unlikely.
Pretty unlikely.
He could have simply not gone into the arena. He could have simply not volunteered, you know?
That's true.
I don't know how things change between now and, like, the end, but not now.
All right. Chapter 22, guys.
Yes.
So, PETA then immediately turns around and kills the monkey and stabs it over and over again.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, because he's trying to save the morphling woman.
Yeah, but he doesn't. And then the monkeys are just like, time's up. And they just fucking leave.
Yeah, some unheard voice calls them away.
Yeah. Because it seems like... Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's not full hours. It's just sort of...
an occurrence.
Yeah. Thing happens, thing is over. Thing happens,
I wonder what
thing
makes
is
them
over.
stop. Like, they kill one?
Timing, probably. Well, it could be dead body. Yeah, could be dead person.
Yeah, like stop when you've killed someone?
Yeah. They're mutations. They're programmed, so...
Yeah, could be. That would be mean.
Yeah, well.
Or when the hour is up. Whatever happens first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they
so
they
the
tend to
woman's
her, she
dying.
dies.
She's
It's very
dying.
sad.
It's very sad. And Katniss kind of thinks about like what might have made her turn to Morphling, and she assumes it's like with Haymitch turning to drink.
Trauma.
Yeah, you know, let's be kinder to people who suffer from addiction.
Yeah,
a lot of the time it's something bigger.
Really appreciate she doesn't vilify the addicts.
I really appreciate that as well. I do
big money here.
think it's a little shitty that Katniss thinks of them as the Morphlings. Like, that's their whole identity.
It is.
But I do think it's great that
I also think that
Suze is like, hey, nuance for the drug addicts.
I also think that's kind of reflective of the fact that these two in particular are so in the snare of their addiction that is their only defining feature outwardly.
Well, I think so much of like people's attitudes toward addiction is their assumption that it could never happen to them because somehow they're more morally
it's a
correct.
moral failing, and
And I think you and I both know people who have struggled with addiction and truly have seen like it can happen to anybody with the right circumstances and the right thing. Like, some people just get really fucking unlucky.
Yep.
And some people have massive amounts of trauma.
Yep.
There's a lot that goes into this shit. And it's like, and like, you know, with my own stuff, I've been through withdrawal before with just like medications doctors have prescribed me. And it's fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know? So respect for addicts, please. And I like that she has respect for them.
Yeah. Have better support networks for people who need to recover from addiction.
Friggin' truly.
But also, there's it's too broad a topic.
There's a lot of nuance.
There's a lot of nuance to this.
I understand.
Yes.
But like, let's also be kind to people as much as we can be. Try to have some empathy and compassion for people.
Yeah.
Oh, and Peeta starts telling her about his painting to, like, give her something to think about while she's dying that's nice. Oh, God.
And then she dies, and it's tragic.
And she
paints a flower on his
fucking cheek. Jesus. And then she dies. And he carries her into the water and, like, floats her in the water. And then the hovercraft appears and takes her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Finnick, meanwhile, has been grabbing arrows from the monkeys.
Oh, and the monkeys' bodies just vanish. So I assume they have, like, elevators in the floor. They can just come and get shit.
Something like that.
An army
The vines shifted, and they were gone.
Weird. Hate it. Don't like it.
That's creepy shit. So the jungle's just
grabbing them, dragging them, putting them in the cellar.
Oh, and their stuff is healing.
They drink some water from the tree, and they eat clams?
Here's something funny.
Yeah, they just eat.
Wait, there was something funny, though, because she says, don't scratch, because the scabs itch.
Oh, and then she itches her scabs all night. Right.
You'll only bring infection. And then later, she starts scratching her skin later.
In her sleep,
Finnick goes, you know, if you scratch, you'll bring on infection.
And
that's funny as shit.
It's really funny.
And
she's like, hey, Mitch, can I have a fucking ointment? Can I have some Eucerin?
Yep. And they send, and like literally immediately a parachute shows up.
Yeah. She goes, hey, Mitch, if you're not too drunk, we could use a little something for our skin.
And then they start like rubbing each other with this gooey
and
ointment. And
roasting each other a little bit.
Yeah. But people will like that. Oh, and Finnick says, it's like you're decomposing.
Ugh.
To Katniss, apparently, about how she looks. Because it, like, turns their skin green. Like a gray green.
Fun.
But they like the ointment, even if it looks hideous. And she says, poor Finnick. Is this the first time in your life you haven't looked pretty? And he says, it must be. The sensation's completely new.
See,
how have you managed it all these years?
He's funny. I understand why people like him. He's funny.
And she says, just avoid mirrors. You'll forget about it. Not if I keep looking at you. So then they decide to try and wake Peeta up, but in a way that scares him.
Oh, yeah. What the fuck?
Which is so mean.
It's a really shitty thing to do.
So she says she's going to wake Peeta, and he goes, no, wait, let's do it together. Put our faces right in front of his. And so then they just, and she says, well, there's so little opportunity for fun left in my life.
She's right.
So then they both like put their faces right next to his. And then like she says, Peter, wake up. And he wakes up and he screams.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And they're both laughing. It's mean, but
it's funny.
They're like, they have no happiness at that time. And I guess it works out for them that they've amused the audience because a parachute lands next to them with bread.
Mm-hmm. And it's always fucking bread.
So she's realizing, be friends with Finnick, you'll get food. So that's nice. So he's examining it a little bit possessively. But it looks like it's got the green tint from the seaweed that the bread from District 4 always has. So they all know it's his.
And they eat some clams or something.
Yeah, so they go eat some shellfish.
They look like shit. 11 dead, 13 alive.
And 10 of them must be hiding in the jungle.
Not for long. We're about to meet 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them. 3 of them. And then someone dies.
Yep.
It's the wave, right?
Oh, yeah, so there's a huge wave that happens.
Yeah. And it kills someone. And they're like, well,
somebody.
Don't go in there, I guess. And then all of a sudden, Joanna Mason shows up. And miraculously, she's got her shirt on.
Yeah, so they say 3 figures about 2 spokes away, stumbling onto the beach. And so they all fade back into the jungle. The trio's in bad shape, you can see right off. One is being practically dragged out by a second. And the third wanders in loopy circles as if deranged. They're a solid brick red color, as if they've been dipped in paint and left out to dry. PETA thinks they're mutations.
Nah. It's your
Definitely
boy.
not. But Finnick's face lights up. Joanna! He calls and runs for the red things. Finnick! So Katniss says to PETA, what now? And he says, we can't really leave Finnick.
No, you can't.
So they decide to go.
Sorry.
But she says, even if I'd had a list of allies.
By the way,
Joanna
be clear,
Mason would definitely not have been on it.
I don't regret saying Finnick needs to go to jail, but I like him now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Finnick's a complicated character.
Yeah, in the Hunger Games? Nuanced, well-written, complicated, morally gray character? No! Yes. Come on.
So she sees the companions. That's BT on the ground on his back, and Ryrus, who's regained her feet to continue making loops.
Fucking Ryrus. God.
You can't handle
Ryrus. I need a name for somebody who's from the Electric District. Ryrus.
So they were super thirsty, and they thought that rain was coming because of the lightning.
Blood rain.
But when it started coming down, it turned out to be blood.
Hooray.
Thick, hot blood.
Ugh.
You couldn't see, you couldn't speak without getting a mouthful.
No.
We just staggered around trying to get out of it. That's when Blight hit the force field.
Oh, rip. Who the fuck? So
the person that they pulled up was Blight.
No, the person they pulled up was in the wave field. Blight died a while ago.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, no, because they just came from the blood rain. No, Blight died just now.
Because
they're covered in red.
Go back to the thing.
Yeah. I think it sounds like it was the wave.
The wedge of the jungle begins to vibrate. An enormous wave crests high on the hill. A cannon fires. We see the hovercraft appear over the area where the wave began and pluck a body from the trees.
Oh.
Because I remember the rain happens in the 1 o'clock wedge, I think.
Okay.
And then the fog is in 2, the monkeys are in 3.
Yeah.
Because the thunder happens, then the rain starts, I think.
Right. But yeah, so Finnick says, I'm sorry, Joanna. It takes a moment to place Blight. I think it was Joanna's male counterpart from District 7, but I hardly remember seeing him, so they were probably friends.
She has a normal fucking name, Joanna.
Mm-hmm.
And his name, as the guy from the Tree District, is Blight.
Could be a nickname.
It could be. I just think it's really funny, the mixture of
regular names and
bizarre
names.
This is a stupid fucking name, in a good way. You know, evocative metaphor names. Gale, Katniss, PETA.
I wonder why she picked Joanna
Kudzu.
of all names.
I know, I'm sure there's a fucking reason. Okay, hold on.
What does the name Joanna mean?
Joanna is a character in Sweeney Todd. the judge's ward.
Are there any other significant Joannas? Other than you, Joanna, who are listening right now. I don't know if there's a Joanna out there who's like, maybe I'm significant. You are.
I can't think of any other than Joanna who's listening right now. Am I missing someone?
Not that I can think of. Does Joanna mean anything? I'm imagining, I think it's probably the girl version of Johannes, which is probably like a John variant. So it's like gift of God or something like that, probably.
God is gracious is what it means.
Huh. I don't know why she picked Joanna.
I bet you do.
You think I do?
I understand that you're, for the Wheel of Time episodes, we call it gaslighting. For these, I believe alighting has not yet caught on, but should. I understand that you're...
I've alit you?
I know you've alit me because every time you listen, an episode goes out, you say, I'm in full spoiler chat, and they say that I got a good one on you this week, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know what the fuck happened.
So you think I got you this episode?
I'm sure you have. There's a couple of times where your voice pitched up into I'm doing something mode, but I couldn't quite piece it together.
Perhaps.
I can't always tell, but I can sometimes tell.
So BT is barely conscious, and Joanna says he got a knife in the back at the cornucopia. And
Wyrus is
we
just
all
going,
look over at Wyrus,
tick-tock,
who's
tick-tock.
circling around, coated in dried blood and murmuring, tick-tock, tick-tock. Yeah, we know.
Dried blood, see?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And then Joanna's annoyed. Yeah, we know. Tick-tock. Nuts is in shock.
And Katniss does not like Joanna. She warms on her by the end of these chapters, but she's like, this is going to be the showdown, me and Joanna. And I'm like, no, it's not. Remember what fucking...
It's Foxface all
It's
goddamn
Foxface
over
too. What? Katniss hates women. It does keep happening.
It just keep happening.
Yeah.
Listen, back in the 2010s, women not liking women was like a cool girl thing to do.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not like other girls. That was like a cool girl thing to do, to say like you don't get along with women because you're too cool for them, right? So maybe that's a remnant of that.
Could be,
maybe.
yeah.
Who knows? I'm reading Throne of Glass right now, just the first one. And all respect to Sarah J. Maas because I think she has some incredible writing, actually. Because people are like, it's trash. And I'm like, it is not. There's a lot of really great stuff in there that is so carefully written and brilliant in my mind. Yes. Is there smut? Yes. What's wrong with smut? Nothing. But also it's pretty smut light, to be honest, until the most recent book. And then all of a sudden it gets real smutty. But
so Throne of Glass, though.
Also brilliant. But Throne of Glass, I believe was her first novel, and she was pretty young when she wrote it. Like, I think she was in college or high school or something.
She's 37 now.
Jesus.
So she was probably
Save
about
some talent for the rest of us.
28, 27.
You think? No,
well, she's
I think
37
some people
now.
say she was in college when she wrote it. Like, she was super...
She may have drafted it in college.
Superbly young.
She's 37 now. Throne of Glass came out 11 years ago. So it was published when she was 26. So she might have...
Thank God, because I get really intimidated by people who are like, I'm Christopher Paolini, and my first book I wrote when I was in 5th grade got published, or whatever. It's like, Jesus. But regardless, she's 26 is still super young.
Yeah.
And there's a little of that, which I hear from people who have read
little of
the
what?
rest
We've
of
come afield a little
There's
bit.
a little of the, like, I'm not like other girls, I don't get along with women
Sure.
stuff from the protagonist at first.
Sure.
But the rest of her stuff is really great. Okay. So
they go to the
they try to figure out what to
right?
do with BT. Well, first she takes care of BT.
Yeah.
Like, deals with and she strips him naked to...
Oh, yeah, because she's like,
no choice.
I'm over it.
Yeah. There's a bad gash about 6 inches long running from his shoulder blade to below his ribs. Jesus, how big was this knife?
Well, he slashed him, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure. And he's lost a lot of blood, which is bad. So she's trying to figure out what to do.
Oh, and they use Mags's moss.
Right.
which I don't think we mentioned before, but moss came up once, and they like pack it with the moss, sort of.
Right. So she packs it with moss.
Or they wipe it with moss, and then they...
Yeah, because the moss has been helpful.
Yeah.
And then...
And they talk over their respective dead, and Joanna asks about Megs and gives us that backstory. She was the mentor.
Yeah, she's Finnick's mentor.
She goes, she was half his family. And the other half is Annie, who also has a normal name. What the fuck?
So, and she asks about what Joanna's doing with nuts and bolts. And she says, I told you, I got them for you. Hamish said if we were to be allies, I had to bring them to you. That's what you told him, right? And she thinks, no.
Sure, why not?
She goes, thanks, I appreciate it. I hope so. She gives me a look filled with loathing, like I'm the biggest drag possible in her life. I wonder if this is what it's like to have an older sister who really hates you.
Oh, she doesn't hate you.
She doesn't hate you. She's just
jaded.
Annoyed. I think she's pissed because it's like when they said one victor, male and female from each thing, she was like, I'm immediately in.
Rip
Fuck.
me.
You know, it was a little inconvenient of you to do that to me.
Yep. Keeps going TikTok.
So Wires, keeps staring off into space and saying TikTok and into the jungle.
And then she puts it together.
So then, the sun rises in the sky until it's directly over us. It must be noon, I think absently. Not that it matters. Across the water, off to the right, I see an enormous flash as the lightning bolt hits the tree and the electrical storm begins again. Right in the same area it did last night.
Huh.
Someone must have moved into its range, triggering the attack.
Nope.
I sit for a while watching the lightning, keeping Wyrus calm, lulled into a sort of peacefulness by the lapping of the water. I think of last night, how the lightning began just after the bell tolled. 12 bongs.
It's a lot of bongs.
It's but like one of those stores.
Glass
like
blowing store, yeah.
Yeah, one of those glass blowing stores.
They always call them, so they're like, ooh, get a vase. And I'm like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. This is not a vase. TikTok, Wyrus says, surfacing to consciousness for a moment, then going back under. 12 bongs last night. Lots of rips.
Damn.
Like it was midnight. This would be a rough puff pass circle. They're not doing very well, any of them.
I mean, under ideal circumstances, it'd be interesting.
You're right. Maybe it would be fun. Then lightning, the sun overhead now, like it's noon, and lightning. Slowly I rise up and survey the area. The lightning there. In the next pie wedge over came the blood rain where Joanna, Wyrus, and Beatty were caught. We would have been in the third section right next to that when the fog appeared. And as soon as it was sucked away, the monkeys began to gather in the fourth. Tick-tock. My head snaps to the other side. A couple of hours ago at around 10, that wave came out of the second section to the left of where the lightning strikes now. At noon, at midnight, at noon. Tick-tock, Wyrus says in her sleep, as the lightning ceases and the blood rain begins just to the right of it. Her words suddenly make sense. Oh, tick-tock. My eyes sweep around the full circle of the arena, and I know she's right. Tick-tock. This is a clock. Suze again with the kick flip.
Banger. All right.
He's just popping wheelies all over the place. Chapter 23, Gus.
Yes.
A clock.
Yes.
What do you think?
I do have notes.
Give me your notes.
Katniss. The children yearn for the mines.
The children yearn for the mines.
I don't know the context for this, but yeah.
Well, I've never had a note where I didn't know the context.
And then I wrote, good Lord, Rip Wyrus, what the fuck?
That section, I still remember how I felt when I first read it. It like filled me when they were like, our canary has stopped singing.
Yeah, it was good.
That freaked me the fuck out. And they made that a line in the movie. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but...
Spoilers.
Well, you don't know who
Straight
said
to
it.
jail.
Well, okay,
no,
fine.
I'm kidding. Then I wrote, by Gloss, by Cashmere. And then I wrote, I don't know what this was in reference to. Oh, that's not her, Katniss. Oh, it's Prim. Oh, that's not her, Katniss. Come on now, wise up.
You're like, idiot!
Get with the program.
Get with the time.
17-year-old.
They're not torturing your sister for fun and games.
All right. Knock him dead. It's a clock. I really should have seen that coming.
It's okay. You know what? It's fun sometimes when you don't know what's coming, right? What did you think when you were like, oh my God, it's a clock?
I went, oh, well, that makes more sense.
Did you figure it out before they said it's a clock?
No, not really. I did not. No.
Wow.
Oh, Gus is a
I didn't
big,
know either.
stupid idiot, isn't he?
I didn't know either.
What's that wow for?
Wow, good writing, Suze.
Yeah, very good writing.
The high five to Suze for the good writing.
Very high five.
Got it by both of us.
She did. She's very clever.
I'm just impressed. The wow was, oh, wow, I'm impressed with Suze.
I am impressed with Suze.
Okay. So she orders Peta and Finnick and Joanna to get up because that means that they're probably next, right? If there was the lightning, the blood rain, the fog, the monkeys. They're still in the monkey section, I think.
They're on the beach now. So they're kind of... Because the beach isn't really affected. It all stops at the beach.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
But she wants them to get up and move.
Yeah, they're below the monkeys, and she's like, let's just clear out, just to be safe.
Yeah.
She gives them the rundown, and Wyrus keeps going TikTok, and she's like, yep, I get it.
I think I've convinced everyone who's conscious, except Joanna, who's naturally opposed to liking anything I suggest. But even she agrees it's better to be safe than sorry. I'm not sure why they have to move.
Because she doesn't know how far the thing
she doesn't
comes.
know. Yeah,
we
she
learn
doesn't know
later
the
that it
beach
doesn't
is
touch
safe.
the beach, but... Because the wave sure touches the beach.
Yeah, I think the wave is the exception.
Yeah. The fog, I think, stops at the beach.
Fog stops at the beach. The monkeys definitely stopped at the beach.
The monkeys stopped at the beach.
Because the only reason they attacked was Peta was in the jungle.
Up at them in the jungle. Yeah.
Well, because they were on the beach, but Peta was like in the jungle trying to tap a tree.
Tapping a tree, yeah.
And the reason they attacked was because he looked at them.
He looked at them, yeah.
But, yeah. But they didn't come to the beach. The only reason that they attacked was Peta.
No.
So, but they were like on the border staring at them.
Yeah. And then she goes, it starts at midnight. And she goes, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's what Plutarch
A memory
Havensby
struggles
said.
to surface in my brain. I completely forgot about this. I see a clock. No, it's a watch resting in Plutarch Havensby's palm. It starts at midnight, Plutarch had said. And then my mockingjay lit up briefly and vanished. In retrospect, it's like he was giving me a clue about the arena. But why would he? At the time, I was no more a tribute in these games than he was. 'Cause they knew.
Yes. Well, only if... Well, no, yeah, they... Oh, yeah, so Snow definitely rigged it then, because...
I mean, is there any question?
But then they were in on it, too. But
that Plutarch was in on it? Yeah.
But oh, so he was always gonna...
I mean, he had to be in on it, right? Like, he had to know. He had to know.
Yeah.
Because as the game maker, like, if the twist of that season was, okay, we're going to have like 45 kids in there, he would need to know that to effectively design the arena.
Yeah.
Right? So he needed to know what the twist was so he could effectively
you're right.
design the arena. At the time, I was no more a tribute in these games than he was. Maybe he thought it would help me as a mentor. Or maybe this had been the plan all along. I'm thinking it's that.
Probably.
So Wyrus nods at the blood rain. She says 1:30. So at 2, the terrible poisonous fog begins. So we have to move somewhere safe now. And then hands her some water. So they gotta go. BT is still pretty out of it. But when Peta tries to lift him, he objects.
Like it's wire. Yeah.
And they think he is talking about Wyrus. So they're like, she's right here. She's fine. But he still struggles and says wire. And Joanna says, oh, I know what he wants. And she picks up the cylinder that they took from his belt when they were bathing him. It's coated in a thick layer of congealed blood. Gross. This worthless thing. It's some kind of wire or something. That's how he got cut, running up to the cornucopia to get this. I don't know what kind of weapon it's supposed to be. I guess you could pull off a piece and use it as a garrote or something. But really, can you imagine BT garroting somebody?
See, it's weird that the wire was in the cornucopia.
That is weird.
That is weird. Because it's not a weapon. It has one use, which is conducting a... Oh, no, BT did... Okay, it's not weird. Because BT
That's how he killed
electrified
people
last time. All right, it's not weird. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
So it was specifically a present
Maybe
for BT.
Plutarch Havensby just sucks.
But it was specifically probably a thing for BT.
Yeah.
Well, they had bows and arrows, right? You'd think when you have the victors. Yeah, when you have the victors, you're going to want to put their iconic stuff in, right? To give them an opportunity to use the thing you want to watch them for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're going to put in the cornucopia things to tempt them into the cornucopia, which are objects that they would have used last time.
Yeah.
So wires for BT, wires and electrical equipment for BT so that he could maybe electrocute people again. Because you're going to want to see them do the same but different, right?
Yeah.
This time you're going to want to set them up for success by providing them with the tools that they need, but also their iconic imagery. So you could be like, Katniss's bow this time is brought to you by Yarn Barn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Peachy says, PETA, not Peachy. PETA says he won his games with wire, setting up that electrical trap. It's the best weapon he could have. And Katniss thinks it's weird that Joanna didn't put that together.
Yeah, which is the thing. She did put it together, and she's covering it for some reason.
Yeah, Katniss says, seems like you'd have figured that out, since you nicknamed him Volts and all. Joanna's eyes narrow at me dangerously. Yeah, that was really stupid of me, wasn't it?
Shut up, because they all have a plan, and she doesn't want to talk about it.
Maybe.
They definitely all have a plan. They absolutely all have a plan, and they kept her out of it.
I guess I must have been distracted by keeping your little friends alive.
They kept her and PETA out of it.
Well, you were, what, again? Getting Mags killed off?
Because they were under the most scrutiny, PETA and Katniss. So the other winners could probably communicate better. So I think, because at the beginning, Finnick says, don't trust 1 and 2. Specifically, 1 and 2. Don't trust 1 and 2.
So they're probably not in on the plan.
They're not. No, they're the high school glory days people. Mm-hmm. You know,
right?
They've brainwashed themselves. Whatever. They're not in.
Yeah, they've decided that the ends have justified those means or something.
But everybody else, or most everybody else, all the people who are now here, these 1, 2, 4, and possibly Mags as well, certainly.
Well, she seemed really okay with dying.
And I guess the 2 from 6.
The Morphlings?
Yeah. It seems as though they are conniving together to hand PETA the win. Specifically PETA.
Specifically PETA. So what do you think they're going to do to make that happen?
2 theories, and one of them is more depressing than the other.
Well, tell us.
One of them, I already mentioned, is that somehow this wire blows a hole in the force field and they get out. The second one, he's like, we're going to run the wire from the tree down to the beach, and it'll kill all the fish and electrify the beach, and then, if they're down there, it'll get them. And I'm like, that is a contrived and stupid plan, BT. Because I'm like, okay, you are the people in charge of the stockpile. You're not going to blow up your own stockpile. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to kind of operate on the hope that they might stumble down there when at midnight, that they happen to be at the beach. So you're not, that's contrived and weird. I'm concerned that what is going to happen is that they're going to lure them onto the beach and performatively commit mass suicide.
Whoa.
It's really dark.
That'd be dark as hell. Darker than a bunch of children killing each other?
It is also significantly, it's very similar to the berries. I'm not contesting that.
But maybe
it's a
that's
lot
purposeful.
Bigger than the berries.
Sure.
Because if it happened once, it went unpunished the first time. Right? This is the punishment, as it were.
Well, I mean, if they succeed at this, that's,
that blows the doors off the whole... Like, either way, it's bad. It's bad no matter what happens. I hope I'm wrong. My concern is then that PETA and Katniss are going to get in another slap fight over who doesn't die. My real concern is that everybody dies in front of Katniss. That's real dark. I don't think she'd go that dark, because that's, like, real dark.
It's pretty dark.
Anyway.
So, yeah, Katniss touches her knife, and Joanna goes, go ahead, try it. I don't care if you're knocked up.
She's funny.
I'll rip your throat out.
She's funny.
So Yeah, but Katniss thinks in her head, it's just a matter of time for us.
Oh my God, Katniss.
Katniss always does this shit.
Foxface is the real Kelly Wentworth over here. Survivor reference.
Yeah.
And they go down to the cornucopia.
Yep. They're going to go to the cornucopia.
So that they can get a handle on all the wedges. Because
now there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty decent number.
Yes.
Considering that there's only 12 left. So like the other 6 would have had to unite together, and that's probably unlikely.
One of them's Chaff. Chaff's still alive. So...
Oh, that's true.
It's 2 careers, Chaff, I don't know.
4 careers.
Didn't they kill...
Brutus
no, it's all 4
Avaria,
careers are still alive. Yeah, that's right.
Not Glimmer. Cashmere and Gloss.
Yeah, they're all alive.
All 4 of them are
then
alive.
Then Chaff. Is that it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The male morphling, I think, is still alive, right?
Didn't he die at the very...
I can't remember.
I think Finnick speared him at the very beginning.
Finnick speared him?
Yeah, didn't he?
I don't remember. I don't remember who died.
Yeah, he died way back, I think.
I know Cecilia died early, and Cedar died early. Right? Then who else is still alive?
We're only missing 1. No, I'm sorry. He killed the guy from District 5.
That's right.
Not
I think the guy from District 6
so the male
is
morphling
still alive.
might still be alive.
And so theoretically, if
he's theoretically
the
on their
morphlings
side.
are a team,
then
he's theoretically on their side. So there's only 4 people that are a threat to them at this point.
And then 2 of them die in the battle royale in a minute.
Uh-huh.
And it's just, I think Cashmere and Gloss make it out. No. Sorry, the other 2 make it out. Whoever the other ones are. I don't make a habit out of giving a fuck about the careers.
Anabaria and Brutus.
Oh, God, yeah, how could I forget them? I actually do give a fuck about them.
Yeah, Sharpened Teeth Girl and Glory Days Boy.
Yeah. High school was great, guy.
High school was the time of my life.
Nothing wrong with liking high school. Anyway.
There's nothing wrong with liking high school. I'm just always like, why did you like high school? Because there's good answers and there's bad answers.
Yeah.
So they go... And she keeps thinking about how they're going to take out Joanna and Finnick.
I mean, that's a very realistic thing to worry about. If this were not a book, she would eventually have to.
Yeah. But now that she kind of likes Finnick, she feels like it's kind of repellent to think about.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
And she switches in her mind to fantasizing about killing President Snow.
Good. That's a better use of your energy and time. Fuck that guy. That guy objectively sucks until I read the prequel and it turns out that actually he was a sad orphan.
No, I don't accept that. I don't accept that. Some people can just suck. There's no sign of life at the cornucopia, which is kind of weird for careers, right? Because usually they kind of like grab all the food and then sit there.
There's no food. It's just weapons.
Yeah. So I guess they're kind of like, fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Or it's a trap.
Wyra starts singing Hickory Dickory Dock.
Yes, she does. And Joanna's like, not the song again.
Yeah.
That went on for hours before she started TikToking.
Yeah.
So Wyra points at the jungle and says 2. And they see that the fog has started.
Peeta makes a map. This is kind of like a he mentions canaries. Yeah.
Yeah, he says she can sense things before anyone else, like a canary in one of your coal mines. And Finnick doesn't know what that is. And Katniss says, it's a bird that we take down into the mines to warn us if there's bad air. And Joanna says, what's it do? Die?
Yes.
And Katniss says, it stops singing first. That's when you should get out. But if the air is too bad, it dies, yes. And so do you. And that makes Katniss think about everyone who's dead. And Gale and President Snow. And she goes back to imagine killing him.
Yeah, and they're doing like a weapon inventory, and she thinks about the mines, and she's like, this is why I wrote Katniss, the kids yearn for the mines. She's like, yeah. I bet part of the reason why we all suck at the Hunger Games is because we don't go into the mines until we're 18. Whereas
so she's not as strong as the kids who have to do manual labor from the get.
Because Joanna just starts I think she's hewing trees or something.
Yeah, so Joanna starts poking around the cornucopia and comes up with a pair of lethal looking axes.
Yeah.
Joanna can axe throw.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Very cool, very fun. Hard to do.
As people who have been axe throwing, it is not easy and it requires a lot of core.
I once split a toothpick with an axe. The toothpick was on the target, and that was great.
And she's like, oh, this makes sense because Joanna Mason is from District 7, which is lumber.
Yeah.
So she's probably been axing things since she could toddle.
Pete is making a map, and that's pretty much it until Wyrus just tragically dies.
Yeah, so they're kind of hanging out, looking at stuff, messing with the weapons. PETA is drawing
a map, yeah.
A map, yeah. And says that the cornucopia is positioned so that it's like on top of the clock. And then kind of draws out a map of everything. So 12 is the lightning, then the blood, then the fog, then the monkeys. 10 to 11 is the wave. So they each kind of like start comparing notes.
Yeah.
And then PETA says, well, it's a lot more than we knew this morning anyway.
Oh, yeah. And certain areas, the fog and the wave both go all the way down to the beach.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the fog does. My bad.
Okay.
I mean, we only have like 30 pages of book left, so I don't think this is gonna come into play, but you know.
But, you know, there's a moment of hope where it's like, oh, they're figuring this out. We all nod in agreement. And that's when I notice it. The silence. Our canary has stopped singing. When I read that first, it freaked me out.
It's fucking creepy, man.
Very late at night. I was lying in bed. I remember I was visiting my dad. I was lying in my bed at my dad's house. And I was reading until like 2 a.m, right? I read this book literally in a day.
Oh, that must be nice.
What?
I've been reading it for a month.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to know what happens.
I read it in a day.
Everybody I talked to is like, oh yeah, I love your Hunger Games episodes. I started them, and then I read all the books in 4 days. Can't wait for you to catch up.
Sorry.
It's great. No, I love it. I am complaining because it's fun.
Because it's fun. So here's what happens. I don't wait. I load an arrow as I twist and get a glimpse of a dripping wet gloss, letting Wyrus slide to the ground.
No.
Her throat slit open and a bright red smile. The point of my arrow disappears into his right temple, and in the instant it takes to reload, Joanna has buried an axe blade in Kashmir's chest. Whew! Finnick knocks away his spear Brutus throws at PETA and takes Anabaria's knife in his thigh. Ow. If there wasn't a cornucopia to duck behind, they'd be dead. Both of the tributes from District 2. I spring forward in pursuit. Boom, boom, boom. The cannon confirms there's no way to help Wyrus. No need to finish off Gloucester Kashmir. My allies and I are rounding the horn, starting to give chase to Brutus and Anabaria, who are sprinting down a sand strip toward the jungle. Suddenly the ground jerks beneath my feet, and I'm flung to my side in the sand. The circle of sand that holds the cornucopia starts spinning
goofy.
Fast.
This is goofy.
Really fast.
This is just silly.
And I can see the jungle going by in a blur. I feel the centrifugal force, pulling me toward the water and dig my hands and feet into the sand, trying to get some purchase on the unstable ground. Between the flying sand and the dizziness, I have to squeeze my eyes shut. There's literally nothing I can do but hold on until, with no deceleration, we slam to a stop. So,
respectfully, this is hilarious. This part, like, because it's a cool fight, then all of a sudden, the island starts spinning really fast. And I understand why they do it. It's just...
I think they do it because they start to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want to fuck them up.
It's so stupid.
It is.
It's dumb. It's dumb. It's
cool. You're kind of like, Plutarch, what?
It's good plotting, but it's like, oh, come on.
Let them have this.
They're mid-fight.
Well, they don't want them to win.
Yeah.
So they're stacking the deck against them. If
I
they kill
know.
the only 2 other people in this arena that want them dead.
Hey, man, Chaff's out there somewhere.
Chaff doesn't want them dead.
Well, yeah, we don't know that.
Chaff's Haymitch's friend.
What if Chaff comes out flaying? He's like wearing the other morphling's skin.
Yeah. So the 3 dead bodies have been tossed into the sea.
I don't know what my thing is with flaying these books.
It's funny. Oh, they can't find BT. And he's out in the water, barely keeping afloat, and swims out, and Finnick swims to haul him in.
Oh, poor guy.
That's when I remember the wire and how important it was to him. I look frantically around. Where is it? Where is it? And then I see it still clutched in Wyrus's hands far out in the water. My stomach contracts at the thought of what I must do next. So she basically swims out. The hovercraft is coming to take Wyrus's body, and Wyrus has the wire.
She was washing the wire.
Yeah, Wyrus has the wire. So she swims super hard, slams into her body. She's trying to avoid swimming in the blood-stained water that spreads out from the open wound in her neck. Ugh. She's floating up and on her back, borne up by her belt and death, staring into the relentless sun. As I tread water... You good?
Yeah, I just knocked something
I have to wrench the coil of wire from her fingers because her final grip on it is so tight.
Well, good for you.
God, Katniss keeps having to grab things from horrifically dead bodies.
That is a trend with her.
There's nothing I can do then but close her eyelids, whisper goodbye, and swim away. By the time I swing the coil up onto the sand and pull myself from the water, her body's gone. But I can still taste her blood mingled with the sea salt.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Oh my God. These are lines, I read them, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it sucks. And you hear it out loud and you're like, ah!
Gross.
Ah!
So Finnick's back with BT, who's a little waterlogged and snorting water.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And he had the good sense to hang on to his glasses, so at least he can see.
Good on ya. MVP. What happens between now? What the fuck else happens?
So
there's a beast in one of the wedges.
Joanna's like, let's get the fuck off of this island.
Yeah. Oh, the Jabberjays.
Yeah.
Right.
So they decide to go. Yeah, so before they spun us, Finnick was judging by the sun. The sun only tells you it's going on 4, Finnick. So Katniss's point is, knowing the time doesn't mean you necessarily know where 4 o'clock is on the clock. You might have a general idea of the direction, unless you consider that they may have shifted the outer ring of jungle as well.
That would be shitty. Also, a feat of incredible engineering, but all right,
Well, I just figure it just goes like here's the inside. This is going to be so interesting for the people.
No, I get you. Yeah. Concentric circles.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, a feat of engineering indeed, but
that's how they do.
Oh, and Anabaria and Brutus's tracks have been blown or washed away. So they can't figure out where they went. And Katniss is mad that she mentioned the clock. Now they've taken that advantage away as well. Only temporarily. At 10, we'll see the wave again and be back on track. That's BT.
Just don't get fucking killed in the meantime.
And Peter's like, they can't redesign the whole arena.
Well, they could, but they won't.
No. And Joanna's like, you had to tell us, or we never would have moved our camp in the first place, brainless. Rude.
She's sassy.
She is sassy. So they randomly choose a path and take it.
And then they end up in the Jabberjays.
And they're like, it's monkey hour, and there's no monkeys.
So we're crushing the game, and then everything gets terrible.
Yeah, so Finnick's gonna tap a tree, and Katniss is gonna watch his back.
Oh, yeah, and she's like, something's going on with PETA. Why is everybody sacrificing themselves for PETA? And then she goes, oh, right, because he's Mark Antony.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep making Caesar references.
Yeah, she's really confused, and she says there's no question about it.
Wishes.
For reasons completely unfathomable to me, some of the other victors are trying to keep him alive, even if it means sacrificing themselves. I'm dumbfounded. For one thing, that's my job. For another, it doesn't make sense. Only one of us can get out, so why have they chosen PETA to protect? What has Haymitch possibly said to them? What has he bargained with to make them put PETA's life above their own?
He's good at talking.
I know my own reasons for keeping PETA alive. He's my friend, and this is my way to defy the Capitol, to subvert its terrible games. But if I had no real ties to him, what would make me want to save him, to choose him over myself? Certainly he is brave, but we have all been brave enough to survive a games. There is that quality of goodness that's hard to overlook, but still. And then I think of it. What PETA can do so much better than the rest of us. He can use words. He obliterated the rest of the field at both interviews. And maybe it's because of that underlying goodness that he can move a crowd, no, a country, to his side with the truth of a simple sentence.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he can.
I remember thinking that was the gift the leader of our revolution should have. Has Haymitch convinced the others of this? That PETA's tongue would be far greater power against the Capitol than any physical strength the rest of us could claim? I don't know. It still seems like a really long leap for some of the tributes.
Yeah,
I mean,
which is why they said not the careers.
We're talking about Joanna Mason here. But what other explanation can there be for their decided efforts to keep them alive?
And then trauma. Instant
That's when I
trauma.
hear the scream. So full of fear and pain, it ices my blood. And so familiar. I drop the spile, forget where I am and what lies ahead. Only know that I must reach her, protect her. I run wildly in the direction of the voice, heedless of danger, ripping through vines and branches, through anything that keeps me from reaching her, from reaching my little sister. Chapter 24, Gus.
Yes.
Do you have any notes for
I
us?
do. Kind of wonder how they got a prim scream on Jabbervision.
That's, I think, what Katniss is more upset by than anything.
She gets there.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing where she's like, oh my god, they have our whole family, they have them all in confinement, and Pete is like, no they don't.
Well, for all they know that they might.
They might, but he's like, no they don't. That would be, if you won and they interviewed your family and they were like, never mind, we killed her sister, that would be pretty bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's fucked up.
If they interviewed her family, they have her voice.
Yeah.
They could probably replicate her
Synthesize it,
screaming. Yeah.
They can make an island spin.
They can
do
make an
anything.
island spin.
All right. Ooh, man, that's fucked up. But
It's like Les Mis with that turntable.
Yeah.
That's that, but the island.
But then again, this is Child Murder City we're talking about. Oh, cool. So there's multiple kinds of force field. There's the murder kind and the chill kind. Very thoughtful. BT, you clown. You could have said that earlier.
What was it?
He's like, yes, it is very easy to synthesize a voice. Children can do that in District 3. Now, he might be lying. But, like, Katniss has this total emotional breakdown to Peeta in front of BT, and then Peeta's like, I bet they can synthesize voices. And BT's like, oh, no, yeah, they can.
Maybe he didn't feel like it was his place to interrupt her crying.
Could be.
Yet.
There's no one left I love. Oh, boy, she's had a bad time, hasn't she?
Joanna?
Yeah. And then I wrote, oh, she made Finnick sympathetic. Because Finnick loves Annie. He loves poor, traumatized Annie, who can barely function. She's so damaged by this shit. And he just wants her to, God. And
she suffers so
poetry
badly
was all to her.
watching all the tributes
She's the rest of his family. And God damn it.
Finnick loves
She's done
Annie,
it again.
And that's who Finnick heard.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Yes.
It's really fucked up that
Honestly,
they use their families against them.
I don't know how much more there is to... The action of this is pretty straightforward.
So Katniss panicked. Where is she? What are they doing to her? Prim!
She's fine.
Yeah. How did she get here? Why is she part of the games? Prim! So Vines cut her in the face.
Petey, it's okay.
It's not Petey.
It's okay.
Just Prim.
Go back to sleep. You'll get used to this eventually.
He's been getting more and more used to it.
When we talk to Petey, for those of you who this is your first episode, that's our dog. He's right there.
Our dog Petey lies next to us while we record.
Yeah.
Because he's got a little separation anxiety.
Also because he's fluffy and nice.
Also because we like to pet him.
So, there's horrible screaming children as opposed to the other screaming children.
Tons of screaming. She figures out that it's a Jabberjay.
Yeah.
And she kills it.
Yeah.
Which, kind of mean.
I would.
It's just doing what it was told to do.
If a bird were screaming my death rattle over and over, you'd kill it too.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and Katniss hurls it into the jungle because she would never eat it.
Yeah.
Because of the horror.
No, Finnick comes in and he's like, what's going on? She's like, hey, before you hear anything, and then they're screaming and he goes,
yeah, so she tries to tell him that she thought she heard her sister, and then there's another scream. It's another voice, not Prim's, maybe a young woman's. I don't recognize it, but the effect on Finnick is instantaneous. The color drains from his face, and I can actually see his pupils dilate in fear. I don't know if I would recognize your voice screaming.
You would.
I hope I never find out.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you would.
I hope I never find out. But, like, I don't know. It just feels like it would be such a different sound.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then, like, I mean, like, I'm just trying to think, like, would I recognize the sounds of my loved one screaming? Like, I don't know.
That is true. It's a specific noise.
Such
but I'm sure
strange noise outside of, like, what normal people's... Like, me screaming, I think, sounds different than, like, my voice
sure
normally sounds.
It modulates in and out of, like, a full-pitched wail. You know?
Sure.
Like, if they're going for maximum psychological torture here, Gus putting on his dictator hat, they're going to layer in, like, sobs and pleas for help.
They're going to make it very clear. Well, I would definitely recognize your voice in that.
Yeah, that's probably what they're doing.
That's fucked up. So, the effect is instantaneous.
Like, everything just sucks for, like, 3 pages.
The color vanishes from his face, and I can actually see his pupils dilate in fear. And Katniss tries to stop him to reassure him, but he's off like a shot.
Now, this is a good chapter. I will say it kind of feels like a filler chapter.
Sure.
It's character...
So,
I take that back. It is a purely character development for Finnick and Joanna chapter.
Yes.
Which is important, and I'm glad we have it. It's not filler. I hate it when people call character development episodes filler. It's not filler. It simply doesn't really advance the plot.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So Katniss finally catches up to Finnick, and he's screaming over and over, Annie, Annie. He's in a state of panic and completely unreachable. So I do what I would do anyway. I scale an adjacent tree, locate the Jabberjay, and take it out with an arrow. It falls straight down, landing right at Finnick's feet. He picks it up, slowly making the connection. But when I slide down to join him, he looks more despairing than ever. It's all right, Finnick. It's just a Jabberjay. They're playing a trick on us. It's not real. It's not your Annie. No, it's not Annie. But the voice was hers.
Yeah, he clocks into
Jabberjays
it right away.
Mimic what they hear. Where did they get those screams, Katniss?
It'll be fine. You're fine. They're fine. She's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so they're freaking out. And this time she hears Gale screaming. And he's like, and Finnick catches her arm and is like, it's not him. And they decide to get out of there.
I mean, even if it were, I'm kidding.
This scene in the movie.
I'm kidding. Oh, I bet it's horrible.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking devastating.
Yeah.
So they finally find Peeta and Joanna.
And then they just like sob by the force field because they can't get out.
And, they can't get out.
And then they just cry and then Peeta comforts her.
Yeah, it's not a force field. It's just a invisible wall, basically.
Yes, it
and
is.
And they can't cut through
light,
it.
Fluffy force field.
So they're trapped until the hour passes. So she has to listen to an hour of her loved one screaming.
Well, don't like that.
It's not great.
No.
And she sees Peeta presses his hand against the surface, and I put my own up to meet it, as if I can feel him through the wall. I see his lips moving, but I can't hear him. Can't hear anything outside our wedge. I try to make out what he's saying, but I can't focus, so I just stare at his face, doing my best to hang on to my sanity. Then the birds begin to arrive, one by one perching on the surrounding branches, and a carefully orchestrated chorus of horror begins to spill out of their mouths. Finnick gives up at once, hunching on the ground, clenching his hands over his ears as if he's trying to crush his skull. I try to fight for a while, emptying my quiver of arrows into the hated birds, but every time one drops dead, another quickly takes its place, and I finally give up and curl beside Finnick, trying to block out the excruciating sounds of Prim, Gale, my mother, Madge, Rory, Vic, even Posey.
What?
Helpless little Posey.
Not Greasy Say? You don't give a fuck about Greasy Say?
She doesn't give a
Posey?
fuck. Posey's Gale's
sister.
younger
Right, okay,
sister, yeah. I know it stopped when I feel Peeta's hands on me.
No, hey, Mitch? Oh.
What? That's a little what the fuck. Feel myself lifted from the ground and out of the jungle.
In all honesty, this is pretty fucked up.
But I stay, eyes squeezed shut, hands over my ears, muscles too rigid to release. So Peeta just kind of like rocks her back and forth and takes care of her and tells her it's okay. And
he's like, she can't be dead because they have to interview her when you get down to Final 8.
And they're like, they just want you to think that they're torturing her. They're not torturing her. It's okay. It's just like when they put Glimmer's eyes in the mutation.
Real fucked up thing to do.
Really fucked. Katniss is hysterical and she says, no, they were torturing her. She's probably dead.
No.
Katniss, Prim isn't dead. How could they kill Prim? We're almost down to the final 8 of us. And what happens then? 7 more of us die. God, Katniss. No, back home. What happens when they reach the final 8 tributes in the games? What happens at final 8? At final 8, they interview your family and friends back home. That's right. They interview your family and friends. And they can't do that if they've killed them all. No. That's how we know Prim's alive. She'll be the first one they interview, won't she? That's how they know Prim's still alive.
She's fine.
And they ask BT if that's possible. Like you said, he's like,
yeah,
of course.
Man. Anybody could do that.
Our children learn a similar technique in school.
I could do that with a little wire, because I can do anything with wire.
Yeah, and the whole country adores Katniss' little sister.
Yes, that's true.
So that's not going to happen. If they really killed her like this, they probably have an uprising on their hands.
I mean, they
don't want that,
yeah.
do they? Says Joanna.
Triple uprising. Oh, yeah, she's like, sure would be a shame if everybody took up arms and
whole
fought.
Country in rebellion? Wouldn't want anything like that.
Wouldn't it, the gentle laborer shall no longer suffer. And she's like, Jesus Christ, Joanna, maybe you are cool.
Yeah, and Katniss is shocked that she would do that. Thinking she's like really gutsy, but also maybe crazy.
6 of 1. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
good for her.
Joanna goes to get water, and she tries to stop her and says, don't go in there. The birds.
She's like, no. It's done. It's fine.
And Joanna goes, they can't hurt me. I'm not like the rest of you. There's no one left I love.
Good God. All right, well, I can't wait to get the depressing fucking backstory for her. Oh, and she tells us theories? About everybody's dead. They probably killed her whole family, Seems like they like to do that. I don't know why, because she didn't do anything too subversive. She just hung back.
Does it have to be in the games?
No, I mean, she seems like she's a firebrand out of the games.
Mm.
So it's very possible that she was stirring shit, and they were like, okay, well, we can do something about that. We'll
do what we threatened to do to Katniss?
Yeah.
Could be.
And she tells us about Annie.
Yes. So
Finnick's only true love.
Yeah, because BT asks.
I don't know if it's a romantic attachment or if he just cares about her a lot. No, but he loves her.
Peeta asks, who did they use against Finnick? Somebody named Annie. Must be Annie Cresta. Who? Annie Cresta. She was the girl Mags volunteered for. She won about 5 years ago. So Katniss realizes that would have been the summer after her father died. So she would have been preoccupied with battling starvation and not remembered. I don't remember those games much. Was that the earthquake year? Yeah, Annie's the one who went mad when her district partner got beheaded.
Oh my God.
Yeah, ran off by herself and hid. But an earthquake broke a dam and most of the arena got flooded. She won because she was the best swimmer. Did she ever get better after? I mean, in her mind? I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing her at the games again. But she didn't look too stable during the reaping this year. So that's who Finnick loves. Not a string of fancy lovers in the capital, but a poor mad girl back home.
It's beautiful. Oh, and then someone just dies.
Cannon blast in the 6 to 7 o'clock zone. So they dip down to retrieve pieces of one body torn apart. 5
different times. Yeah, and they're just like, okay, we're not going there.
Yeah. Whatever happens at 6 o'clock, I never want to know. So
it's the squirrels from Haymitch's year.
Yeah, they add JJ to the 4 to 5 o'clock section on the map and then write Beast on the other one because they're like, don't know.
Don't know, but don't want.
Not a good one. And so then they settle down and all the faces come. So Cashmere, Gloss, Wirus, Mags, the woman from District 5, the Morphling who gave her life for Peeta, Blight, the man from 10.
Yep.
8 dead. Plus 8 from the first night. 2/3 of us gone in a day and a half.
It's a fast one.
That must be some kind of record.
Yeah, well, these are not popular games.
They're really burning through us, says Joanna. Who's left besides us 5 and District 2? Chaff. That's what Peeta says, without needing to think about it. Perhaps he's been keeping an eye out for him because of Haymitch.
All right, and then this weird shit starts up with the fucking bread. He keeps sending them District 3 bread, and there are 24 rolls, and they keep dividing them and doing math and talking about how many rolls they have and how many rolls they'll have left and how many rolls they'd have left when people start dying. And he keeps sending them District 3 bread that is easily divisible. And I don't know if it's just because there's a lot of them. I assume that's part of it, but it comes up so many times.
Yeah, well, Finnick got the District 4 bread.
Yeah, when there was 3 of them.
And there was 3 of them, and there was 1. And then they got 24.
24 loaves for 5
and
people.
they could divide it by 3.
Wait, 5 people?
So they have 24 on the nose.
Yeah.
And Joanna says, let's each have 3, and whoever is still alive at breakfast can take a vote on the rest.
Yeah.
And that makes Katniss laugh.
It's kind of funny.
And they kind of have like a good little like look where Joanna kind of looks approvingly at Katniss and Katniss kind of looks approvingly at Joanna.
Yeah, they're getting along a little better.
She's making Katniss laugh.
Yeah.
Then the giant wave comes. There's an unpleasant course of clicking in the 11 to 12 o'clock wedge.
Don't like it.
Which don't love.
And then I completely forgot. This is the thing where they have they like make out.
Oh, yeah.
They actually make out. And unfortunately, there's still the element of performativity to it because of the fucking way the world has worked its horrific hexen magic on these two.
Well, Peeta kind of calls Katniss out and says that he knows basically that she's trying to keep him alive. And he knows also that she knows that he's trying to keep her alive.
They try to stave off each other's doom.
And
he says,
I don't know what kind of deal you made with Haymitch, but you should know he made me promises as well. So I think we can assume he's lying to one of us.
She's like, heretic. No.
So it's been a double deal. And she goes, why are you saying this now? Because I don't want you forgetting how different our circumstances are. If you die and I live, there's no life for me at all back in District 12.
Call up District 13 and nuke him. Come on.
I would never be happy again. Oh, District 13 and nuke them?
I was doing a thing there where I was trying to name all of the classic...
Nuke who, 12?
No, the Capitol.
Oh, the Capitol.
I was doing a thing for a minute there where I was trying to name all the boomer shooters and see how many I could work into conversation.
Sure.
Because apparently that's what I do. It doesn't matter. You know what? If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, it doesn't matter.
My resolution? Airstrikes.
Bomb them.
Bomb them.
What did I get? Heretic, Hexen,
TikTok
Doom,
sound?
Blood, whatever. Go on. Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, but he's like, other people love you, Katniss, and I'm
Duke
like,
Nukem,
why
obviously.
is Peeta forgetting about his whole ass family? But I guess his mom kind of sucks.
Because he's just trying to convince Katniss that she should live.
Yeah.
And he does this shit
like,
with
your family needs you.
He does this shit with the fucking locket. Fuck this guy. He's too good. Fuck him. God damn it. He has a locket. What, he put Gale in it?
Oh, yeah. He gives her a locket.
Peeta, you
and there are
perfect
photos
son of a bitch.
of her mother and Prim and Gale.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, your family needs you. Good fucking God, this man. And she waits for him to mention the baby, but he doesn't. And that's how I know that none of this is part of the games. That he's telling me the truth about what he feels. No one really needs me, is what he says. And there's no self-pity in that.
Who will ice the cakes?
Who will ice the cakes? We need your yellow cake recipe. And she says, I do. I need you. And he looks upset, takes a deep breath as if to begin a long argument. And that's no good. No good at all, because he'll start going on about Prim and my mother and everything, and I'll just get confused. So before he can talk, I stop his lips with a kiss.
Kiss.
I feel that thing again.
Kiss.
The thing I only felt once before. In the cave last year when I was trying to get Haymitch to send us food.
Kiss.
I kissed Peeta about 1,000 times during those games and after. But there was only one kiss that made me feel something stir deep inside. Only one that made me want more. But my head wound started bleeding and he made me lie down.
That's funny. I'm glad they have this moment, even if it is manipulative on both sides, because I know they genuinely care about each other.
Mm-hmm. This time, there's nothing but us to interrupt us. And after a few attempts, Peeta gives up on talking. The sensation inside me grows warmer and spreads out from my chest, down through my body, out along my arms and legs to the tips of my being. Instead of satisfying me, the kisses have the opposite effect. Whoa, Katniss.
Hey.
Of making my need greater.
Gail's watching this like, this is
bullshit.
This is the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody right now.
I'm taking
Nobody
to the
is
internet.
suffering more than I am watching this happen. I don't know why I've decided that I hate Gale. Anyway.
He would totally subtweet the games and be like, boo Peeta. More like poopta, am I right? Like, that would be him.
Not a single person commented on that.
They
after
did
we
in
uploaded
spoiler
that.
chat.
Well, I didn't get to
because
see
I was
spoiler
like,
chat.
did no one listen to the outro? This is my favorite outro of all time. I don't care what anyone says. So they make out for a while.
Long time.
And
then lightning tree
and
starts.
Katniss says, I thought I was something of an expert on hunger. But this is an entirely new kind. It's horniness, Katniss.
Yes.
You're horny.
You've become horny for the
You're
first time
horny for the
ever.
bread boy. You want a roll and also a roll in the sack.
I think there's actually a lot of legs to my Katniss is asexual theory.
She might be demisexual.
Yeah, I think she might be.
You know, where it's like you only feel the feelings when there's a romantic attachment.
Yeah.
I learned that recently.
Yes.
She's a demisexual. And that's okay. Oh, and Finnick, the lightning wakes up Finnick, and he can't sleep. And he notices that they're all wrapped around each other.
He's like, anyway.
And he's like, okay.
And then he brings up the baby again, and therefore this genuine moment is over.
Yeah, he says, you're going to make a great mother, you know? Yeah, the timeout for the game is over. That he knows the audience will be wondering why he hasn't used the most persuasive argument in his arsenal, that sponsors must be manipulated. But as I stretch out on the sand, I wonder, could it be more like a reminder to me that I could still one day have kids with Gail?
All this happened here.
Well, if that was it was a mistake. Because for one thing, that's never been part of my plan. And for another, if only one of us can be a parent, anyone can see it should be PETA. As I drift off, I try to imagine that world, somewhere in the future, with no games, no capital, a place like the meadow in the song I sang to Rue as she died, where PETA's child could be safe. And that is the end of chapter 24. Chapter 25.
Yes. There we go.
Give me your note.
What in the Zelda puzzle is this plan? We're going to run a wire from a big tree that gets struck by lightning every 12 hours down into the water and hope that the other two people happen to be on the beach at noon because they'll come to the beach for food if we leave the beach. So we'll leave the beach at noon and hope that they go to the beach at noon. And then they'll get electrocuted by the lightning that hits the tree and travels the quarter mile down the wire to the water and then back up the water into the sand, and hopefully sand, which is so conductive, I know it's wet, I know it is a little bit, will electrify them and they will die. And even if it doesn't, all the fish will die. All the fish are dead, to go back to something I wrote in a writing journal 12 years ago, and I still don't know what it means, but I underlined it and I was very excited about that writing pitch idea. All the fish are dead. Anyway, then all the fish will be dead, and then for your Eureka, they'll be out of food too. But so will we, and we're the people who have all the food. So, like, this is not the plan. There's no way this is the plan. This is the cover plan for the plan. Because this plan...
think BT would come up with, like, a dumb plan?
He would come up with a harebrained scheme that was really good. He wouldn't come up with, like, this is a dumb plan.
You're suspicious of
this is a dumb plan. This is not the plan, because BT's not dumb, and this is a dumb plan.
I do remember reading this as a youth and going, and I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or not, but I remember reading this as a youth and going, this doesn't make sense.
No, it's a dumb plan. It's contrived. It's weird. It's
maybe Suze is just weird and contrived.
I don't think Suze is weird and contrived. She hasn't been weird and contrived before. This plan is weird and contrived. Which is why, again, my two options are, one, the sad one that I outlined earlier, or two, somehow they overload the force field using the lightning.
That's an interesting theory.
You think Haymitch might be trying to tell you something with the District 3 bread, bud? Because Wirus is from District 3, so maybe it's maybe it's listen to BT. There could be something else going on here. Or it could just be because it's easily divisible, but it didn't have to, I don't know.
24. Do you think there's any significance?
24 hours.
24?
Yeah.
Okay.
24 hours in the day. It's a show that was on Fox for a while. It's also the number of tributes.
Sure. So why do you think you'd be sending them District 3 bread? Seems specific.
Yes, it does. And I think it's because it's like, do what BT says. Do what BT says.
But what's the 24?
It comes divisible, divided into 24. And it's either something to do with hours in the day.
Okay.
Like, it's more than just a 12-hour clock. There's something going on with hours in the day. Or it has to do with how many tributes there are. There could be yet a third thing that there is. You're smirking, you're grinning, and I can see, I'm missing something. You can tell me.
Or I'm fucking with you. I can tell you. No, I can't.
No, you can't. I'm just trying to
No, I can't.
manipulate you into telling me.
I can't tell you anything.
You can't tell me a goddamn thing.
No, I don't tell you anything.
Is this going to be like you got... all right.
I might be just messing with you.
There's something going on with the bread.
You think so?
Yeah. And my last note was, are our friends going to do a mass unaliving with the tree? I hope not.
Hope not. So Katniss wakes up, chapter 25, guys.
Yes.
She has a brief feeling of happiness that is somehow connected to PETA.
Hold on to that. It's gone.
And realizes that she's in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, well,
and that she's probably going to die.
Yeah, well, you know.
And happiness is stupid.
Well.
So then they get an additional 24 rolls from District 3.
Oh my God! 24, they get it 3 times 72. 72 is 4 years ago. Was 3? No, wait. 1, 2. Okay, it's 3. Okay, so it's not Joanna. 72. She was 71. Life is pain. No, it's Finnick. No, it's 10 years ago. Go ahead.
So that gives them 33 bread rolls in all.
33. Go ahead.
So that gives us 33. We each take 5, leaving 8 in reserve.
Spend so much time on this. Doing the math of the bread and like divvying things.
No one says it, but 8 will divide up perfectly after the next death. Somehow in the light of day, joking about who will be around to eat the rolls has lost its humor.
Yeah, well.
So she starts thinking about how long the alliance is gonna keep.
Well, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that for very long.
And so she's, kind of thinking, are they really trying to save PETA, or is that just, them trying to make them easy prey and complacent?
No. No, they could have killed you 1,000 times.
Yeah. So she's not sure what's happening.
Unless this is like, everybody likes them, the sponsors like them, but no.
So then she takes him and is like, I'll teach you how to swim. And she's teaching him how to swim, but Joanna's keeping an eye on them. Finnick's weaving a new net out of vines, and BT's playing with the wire. And she realizes that her scabs are coming off. And so they're scrubbing themselves with the itchy scabs. And Katniss says, look, the pool is down to 8. I think it's time we took off. And PETA nods and says, tell you what, let's stick around until Brutus and Anabaria are dead. I think BT's trying to put together some kind of trap for them now. Then, I promise, we'll go. I'm not entirely convinced, but if we leave now, we'll have 2 sets of adversaries after us. Maybe 3, because who knows what Chaff's up to. Plus the clock to contend with. And then there's BT to think of. Joanna only brought him for me, and if we leave, she'll surely kill him. Then I remember I can't protect BT too. There can only be one victor, and it has to be PETA. I must accept this. I must make decisions based on his survival only. All right, we'll stay until the careers are dead, but that's the end of it. And then she waves Finnick over, and the new skin is too delicate for the sunlight, so they have to put special stuff on it. BT calls them over. He says, I think we all agree our next job is to kill Brutus and Anabaria. I doubt they'll attack us openly again now that they're so outnumbered. We could track them down, I suppose, but it's dangerous and exhausting work. Do you think they figured it out about the clock? If they haven't, they'll figure it out soon enough. Perhaps not as specifically as we have. But they must know that at least some of the zones are wired for attacks, and that they're reoccurring in a circular fashion. Also, the fact that our last fight was cut off by Game Maker intervention will not have gone unnoticed by them. We know it was an attempt to disorient us, but they must be asking themselves why it was done, and this too may lead them to the realization that the arena's a clock. So I think our best bet will be setting our own trap. So let's do the weirdest thing I can think of and thread this wire half a mile. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just as you've explained, BT explains the plan. It's a weird fucking plan, but they all agree to go along with it. But they don't really understand the plan, but they're like, he's really smart.
It's a shitty, weird plan.
But they're like, he's really smart, so whatever. And they're like, okay. So they decide to go look at the tree that's going to be struck by lightning.
See, they bring up that the force field's right next to it, too.
Mm-hmm. So, and Katniss still has to keep up that she can hear the force field.
That's so funny. And BT's like...
But BT's the one who told her how to spot it.
Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Katniss can hear it.
Whatever you say, boss.
Yeah, but Katniss can see the force field. She just doesn't want them to know that she can see it. They're all doing stuff while BT messes around with the tree.
They start throwing cubes of rat at the... Yeah.
At the force field to cook it.
Yeah.
And it's 11 o'clock. And they then they hear that clicking again, and they guess insects, maybe beetles, because it's not mechanical.
Don't like that.
Something with pinchers.
Would they be mutation beetles, or would they just be...
I'm thinking,
like
yes.
regular, everyday beetles?
I think mutation beetles, because I think the person who got lifted from this was the one in 5 pieces.
But I like imagine, like, she runs out, she's got like 10 beetles, and she runs out. I'm just picturing, because Peeta was so good at comforting her.
Yeah.
Just imagine she like runs out of 11 and she's throwing beetles off herself, and he just picks one up and he's like, it's okay, they're just normal beetles. They're not like, you know,
scary beetles,
evil beetles. They're just, you can step on them. Check it out. Crunch, 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 crunch. It seems like something he would do.
He would do that if they were normal beetles.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of a troll. They're like, you think that they're like scary beetles,
but it's just beetles.
Regular beetles.
Yeah.
I guess the blood rain's kind of that, right?
I mean, that's fucking creepy. Yeah.
It is creepy.
It's psychological warfare, right? There is as much psychological torture in this as there is kill you torture.
Yeah, some stuff is just for the drama.
Yeah. Like the Jabberjays might drive you mad, as it were.
Well, because not every single wedge can be deadly, because otherwise they all die immediately.
Yeah.
And that would not be interesting. So they're kind of like hanging out. Again, BT's just kind of like examining stuff.
Not a lot happens, and that's fine. I feel like I ragged on the last chapter. I didn't mean to. It's a beautiful chapter with a lot of really meaningful stuff in it. And
24 rolls come again.
Fucking bread, man.
And a small pot of spicy red sauce.
Well, now I want tikka masala.
That's all District 3. And BT's District 3.
Yeah, it could also be he's going to double cross you, but that doesn't seem likely.
I don't think so.
It could just all be so she can do this imagery stuff with division of bread and sharing, and, you know, because breaking of bread is like the whole thing.
Yeah, but also Peeta, I think, gave her a pearl.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, I hope it makes it back to District 12. Surely my mother and Prim will know to return it to Peeta before they bury my body.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and at one point, Peeta says, the locket didn't work, did it? And she says, it worked. And he said, but not the way I wanted it to. So basically, Katniss is still determined to save Peeta.
Yeah.
And that is the end of chapter 25.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go. Do you want any other
theories, thoughts?
I have said most of them. She can't die this book. He might. If he does, I will be absolutely devastated. I will be shattered. I will have to go and look at the ocean.
We'll just have to bring you to the ocean.
It will have to happen. And there is nothing. If you see me on the beach, it's because Peeta's dead.
If you see him on the beach, walking by himself, talking to himself, have Peeta.
I am still not convinced that Plutarch Havensby is totally shit. Because that fucking Mockingjay, that was weird.
With him, a Haven bee.
Because I'm trying to think of...
Am I right?
Yeah, that's good.
The Haven's Bees.
That's
a joke from our Wheel of Time shit.
I'm trying to think of Plutarch's, because Seneca was a real person.
Seneca was a real person.
Plutarch, I can't think of any Plutarchs.
I feel like...
And I know it's not all one-to-one.
But I can't remember. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's all gonna... I'm excited to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will...
Okay, let's go through all of our characters. You tell me whether or not they make it to the end of this book. Let's go, BT.
Well, this is the thing. Either they all do, or none of them, except for Katniss.
You think they all do?
Either.
Not one more death between now and the end of the book.
No, Finnick dies.
Finnick dies.
Finnick's the protector. Finnick has to die. Joanna might also sacrifice herself. Honestly, I could see all three of those guys dying.
BT, yeah. Joanna, Finnick.
I hope Peeta doesn't die, but if just Katniss and Peeta escape, it's a little bit of a repeat beat, and it's a little disappointing.
Sure. Well, Suze has not proven herself to be a good writer so far.
Yes, she is a very good writer.
Suze, we love you. You're so good. It's unbelievable, really.
Brutus and Anabaria don't make it. Chaff is the other wild card. He's the Thresh this book.
Yeah, it's kind of like, where is he?
Yeah, he could be anywhere. He could be nowhere.
Well, let's have you read and find out.
Yeah, no, I feel like I've outlined my theories as thoroughly as I can, and now I have to go and suffer.
I wish there was a way I could read it next to you. I'm just going to read over your shoulder.
That seems reasonable.
Okay.
All right, be right back, everybody.
BRB. All right, so we're not going to talk about all of it.
What the fuck? They blew up Appalachia. And they have Peeta. He's in the thing. This is horrible. And then Gale showed up just when I thought it couldn't get any worse. Gale walks in. God. Fuck.
Do you see why I waited until you were done with this
Yes.
stuff?
Oh, my God. I was right about a lot of stuff.
You were right about a lot of stuff.
I was not going to figure out 3 bread days, 24 bread hours. That is insane. I understand it was there as a coded message to the rest of them who knew about it. I was never gonna... I got it close.
I tried to kind of
I said 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, I kind of tried to be like, and so what do you think 24 hours in a day would be? But it's okay.
I was right about a bunch of stuff. I was right about Plutarch.
You were right about Plutarch?
He was not fantasy Goebbels.
You were right about shooting the thing?
I was right about shooting the thing. This is a great book. It's gonna go in the freezer for a while.
Do you think that there might be any loss of life in District 12?
Well, they blew up the fucking town.
They blew up
They
the fucking
killed
town.
Most of them, I have to assume.
You think anyone we know is a casualty?
Well, probably not Madge. I don't know.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
You'll have to read and find out.
I have to read Mockingjay, but...
We'll definitely be breaking down these 2 chapters.
Yes.
We're going to take a bit of a break because it's 10 o'clock.
It's late,
almost 11
and
o'clock.
I need to reel from this,
And
but I
Gus
thought it
needs a
was
minute.
very important that I come on just as I finished the book.
It was very important. How you feeling?
Well, pretty happy, honestly. This is a lot less bad than it could have been.
They got Peeta
Yeah, well, he's alive.
and Joanna.
Well, yeah.
That's not good.
No. It's terrible. I like Katniss waking up being like, all right, I gotta kill everybody. It's like, Katniss, turn it off. Turn it off. It's fine. Turn it off. Pipe down.
When you're in the
Not
game.
pipe down, I know. It's a mindset.
The traumas.
And also, it's just like, hey, guess what? District 13 was there the whole time.
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, surprise!
Surprise.
Like, what the
District
fuck?
13 exists. This is why no one lets you do the plans, because you just flail at people with a syringe.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good line.
Good thing she didn't kill BT.
Yes, that would have been real awkward. Real awkward.
Would have been real awkward.
Real good. Real good book. Good book. Great book. Real good. Excellent. Very good book. All right. I don't need to go look at the ocean. That would have... It's too late for that kind of thing. All right.
What do you need right now? How can I best support you
drink my
emotionally
orange juice.
through this trial?
Drink my get less sick orange juice.
What do you think's going to happen to Peeta? Drink that orange juice, babe.
Well, they could make him an Avox. That would be bad.
I could do that. That'd be bad.
They could try to brainwash him and have him stab Katniss. That'd be bad.
You think they'd do that?
I would try.
Do you think Peeta would be brainwashed?
It's not really a question of letting yourself be brainwashed.
Oh, okay.
It's, conditioning.
Malevolent brainwashing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they can make islands spin, which apparently
as opposed to the benevolent brainwashing.
Yeah. Well,
I realized that was kind of silly, but
propaganda is a different kind of brainwashing.
It's a heck of a drug.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess next book is just full open warfare. That's cool.
Guess so. Guess we're doing this.
I'm glad we got one mention of District 13 existing before all of this started.
Yes.
That's a little sudden, I must confess, but that's okay.
No, they've mentioned District 13 more than once.
They've mentioned, yeah, I know. It's just a little bit sudden to be like, hey, guess what? We were right. It's great.
Well, I mean,
I'm not upset about it.
That it
I'm not mad.
existed.
It's great. No. It's good. I just think it's a little funny.
Well, they were busy behind the scenes.
Apparently
Katniss was doing stuff.
What the fuck have they been up to the past 75 years?
We might find out.
I bet we do.
We might find out.
I'm gonna go decompress for a minute, and then we'll come back and talk about all that shit.
Fun. So we took a quick break.
Yes.
To go to a wedding. And now we're back.
Yes.
For Gus's reactions to chapters 26 and 27.
Yes. What chapters they were.
Gus, do you have any notes for chapter 26?
I do have for 26 I have a few.
All right.
I wrote,
lay them on us.
Katniss, be real. You cannot tell half hours in the sky. She's like, it's 4:30. I'm like, no, it's not. You don't even know where you are geographically.
Suzanne Collins said, err on the side of awesome.
Sure. Well, that seems bad. Fake death. Nice.
Well, that seems bad. Could describe any moment in the Hunger Games,
yes.
To be honest.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Katniss, she didn't turn on you. She didn't turn on you. Someone died. Bet it was a career.
But Gus, it's the random woman Katniss decided to hate.
Yeah, well... You know, what do we know about women in Katniss's life? She hates them. That's a joke.
Katniss hates women.
Someone died. Bet it was a career. Okay, so he's gonna stab the force field when the lightning hits the tree. Then I yelled, called it.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I was did.
Right about many things.
You were very right about this. You came up with it in the car, and I was like, God damn it.
Well, you talked about the chink in the armor and all this other shit with the force field so many... Like, of course.
I know, but it was still... Like, yes, of course you clocked BT's plan doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's a nonsense garbage plan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna electrocute the beach.
You're like, he's supposed to be the smart guy.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. All right, chapter 26, Gus.
Yes.
The anthem begins, but there are no faces in the sky tonight.
Yes.
The audience will be restless, thirsting for blood.
Well, don't worry. They're gonna get a lot more restless when the bloody rebellion starts.
You know what? They're
Continues.
thirsting for blood, and they're gonna get a bloody rebellion.
Hey.
BD's trap holds enough promise, though, that the game makers haven't sent in other attacks. Perhaps they are simply curious to see if it will work. So they leave the camp, Finnick and Katniss do.
Yes.
And start hiking up to the lightning tree. Katniss feels a little queasy and starts to regret the dozen oysters she had. This reminds me of when your roommate came home.
Oh my God, yeah.
We, at one point, Gus's best man and I and Gus all lived together.
Yes.
When he was a summer associate at his law firm.
Yes.
And so he needed a place to crash just for the summer. And he comes home from an event, and he's a very particular kind of person.
He doesn't really drink
in
much,
the best way.
If at all.
And he doesn't really drink much, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That's not why I'm calling him particular.
But it's important to know that, because he goes to this event, and then he comes back from the event, and he goes, I'm so queasy, I'm so nauseated, I feel really bad. You know, I think it's because I had like 2 sips of a martini.
And both Gus and I go, that's not it.
I went, well, it could be it if you have like an intolerance or something, but I don't know. You've never, has anything like this ever happened before? He goes, no, nothing. No, I think it must have just been, you know, the martini. I must have had too much martini. I'm like, well, you had like a third of a shot. And I don't think in your case that's too much. He went, no, that's definitely it. I said, did you eat anything else at this event? And he goes, no, you know, just the food that was provided. And I go, well, what food was provided? And he goes, well, you know, it was an oyster bar. And I go, okay, how many oysters did you have? 12 maybe? Huh.
I don't know. I think it could have been that.
I don't know, man. I think maybe.
Just maybe.
Maybe. The problem might be the oysters.
You had a bad oyster. Just maybe. It's never happened before.
Not out of the question.
So they start kind of fucking around with the lightning tree. And BT unrolls like an absurd amount of wire to this tray.
This is where it gets suspicious, is because they start wrapping the thing around the thing, and he's like, okay, Enobaria and Katniss, you two run back down and drop the wire in the thing. Mm-hmm. And we'll stay here.
Right.
And Peeta's like, I want to go with them, and BT's like, you can't run, so no.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Unfortunately.
Yes.
Considering what happens later. But yeah, he wants to go with them to guard. And yeah, BT's like, you're too slow. So Joanna, BT, and Peeta, Jesus, BT and Peeta stay behind. And Katniss and Finnick go to drop the coil and then come back. So
Katniss and Enobaria.
Sorry.
No, not Enobaria.
Yeah,
God. Johanna. It's Johanna, isn't it Johanna?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I just read
Katniss
this.
and Joanna.
Katniss
Sorry.
and Joanna. I was saying Enobaria. Obviously, it's not Enobaria. Enobaria shows up in a minute.
Yeah. And Katniss gives Peeta a kiss and says, don't worry, I'll see you at midnight. No, you won't. No, you won't.
Sadly not.
Dramatic irony. Nope, that's not it. What is it when you do a reread? Would that be dramatic irony then?
It's dramatic irony for you on a reread because you know what's happening. But it's not dramatic irony is when the characters don't know something, but you do.
But you do. Yeah. Like Romeo and Juliet being a famous example because
dramatic irony,
at the very beginning, they tell you that they're going to die.
Yeah. And because of the whole thing at the end, he's like, oh my God, she's dead. We're like, she's not.
But, that too. You know. There's two examples. So they hurry, and one's manning the coil, and the other one's keeping watch, because they're just uncoiling this wire.
And then it suddenly snaps. And this is interesting, because Joanna smacks her in the head with the spool, and then cuts the tracker out. She doesn't know what it is, but she cuts the tracker out of her arm.
Yep.
And yells at her, stay down.
Yes.
And she's like, well, that's it. I knew it. Fucking Joanna Mason has turned on me.
Yeah.
This is how it was. By the way, I was right that either all of them die or none of them die. And none of them died.
None of them died, but some of them did get taken captive.
None of them died.
It's true.
So I was right.
But it says, suddenly the thin gold wire
from above. Although Katniss was sure doing her best to make BT die when she was like, maybe I'll just kill him with this syringe.
Oh, I know. Could you imagine how awkward that would be if she had done that?
Oh, boy. Hey, guys, my bad.
Super my bad. Oops. And oopsie daisy was done. I killed the guy. A guy I liked, too. Whoops. I thought I was doing him a solid. Maybe, just maybe, when you're rescuing someone from a traumatic situation, you don't leave her in a room with someone incredibly vulnerable and not tell her what's going on. You have someone watch the situation.
It's really fun, kind of, the when you look back on the beginning of this, because I think about Katniss having no fucking idea what's going on to the very end. You think back at the beginning of the book when Peeta was like, you fuckers have to tell me the plan from now on. And Haymitch understandably responds by immediately telling neither Katniss nor Peeta the plan.
So, directly disobeying Peeta. Well, yeah. But I mean, in fairness, it's a lot to trust two 17-year-old kids with.
It is.
Especially since Peeta is rather adept at he's a pretty good actor.
He's a very good actor.
Katniss is a bit unpredictable.
She's good at acting like she wants to bone the dude. But
not enough.
Yeah.
She's a little unpredictable. But yeah, so suddenly the thin gold wire from above springs down at us, bunching in entangled loops and curls around our wrists. Then the severed end snakes up to our feet. It only takes a second to register this rapid turn of events. Joanna and I look at each other, but neither of us has to say it. Someone not far above us has cut the wire, and they will be on us at any moment. My hand frees itself from the wire and has just closed on the feathers of an arrow when the metal cylinder smashes into the side of my head. The next thing I know, I'm lying on my back in the vines, a terrible pain in my left temple. And you thought to yourself, Joanna is not betraying Katniss right now.
I thought, obviously, I didn't put together that she hit her with the spool. I thought one of the careers, threw a bottle at her or something. I don't know why I misunderstood that. But yeah, I was like, she's not betraying her. If she were betraying her, she'd just kill her.
Very true. Something's wrong with my eyes. My vision blurs in and out of focus as I strain to make the 2 moons floating up in the sky into one.
The concussion might have been a bit much. Like, this was a little over the top.
Yeah, maybe. But I think she didn't mean to hit her that hard.
I think she knocks her out this hard so that Anabaria and Brutus will think that she's dead.
Well, maybe her hope was to knock her out all the way.
Yeah. But then she couldn't have gotten back for the thing. Because she had to be there when the wall went down. I don't know. It's curious.
Yeah. The next thing I know, so I lost my place, sorry.
Sorry.
It's hard to breathe, and I realize Joanna's sitting on my chest, pinning me at the shoulders with her knees. I believe that this method of killing someone, if she were to kill someone, is called burking.
The fuck?
This is from my true crime days, when I was, like, really into that before I realized that I don't do well with it. I think it's B-U-R.
To murder as by suffocation so as to leave no or few marks of violence.
And it's because of a very specific case.
The head wound would kind of negate the burking aspect of this.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, it was from a famous case, the Burke and Hare murders. Right, yeah, where they used to sit on their victims' chests to smother them.
That's terrible.
I know. But I just thought that was an interesting fact.
It is.
There's a stab in my left forearm. I try to jerk away, but I'm still too incapacitated. Joanna's digging something. I guess the point of her knife into my flesh, twisting it around. There's an excruciating ripping sensation, and warmth runs down my wrist, filling my palm. She swipes down my arm and coats half my face with my blood. Stay down, she hisses. Her weight leaves my body, and I'm alone. Stay down, I think. What is happening? My eyes shut, blocking out the inconsistent world as I try to make sense of my situation. All I can think of is Joanna shoving Wyrus to the beach. Just stay down, will you? But she didn't attack Wyrus. Not like this. I'm not Wyrus anyway. I'm not nuts. Just stay down with you, will you? Echoes around inside my brain. Footsteps coming, 2 pairs, heavy, not trying to conceal their whereabouts. Brutus's voice. She's good as dead. Come on, Anabaria. So they leave her, basically to die.
See, it worked out.
So, good thing for Joanna and Katniss that they didn't decide to, like, mercy kill her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They don't seem the type to do anything merciful.
Probably not, but, still.
I think they were also worried that if they spent their focus on Katniss, that then Joanna would have circled back.
Yeah, probably. So she thinks, am I? I drift in and out of consciousness looking for an answer. Am I as good as dead?
For most of this, I was going, oh, for God's sake, Katniss. Come on.
He got a wee head wound.
Keep up. Like, concussion's bad. You should go to the hospital.
Oh, definitely.
But
take
also,
it seriously.
But, no, Katniss, why would you? No. Although then there's the thing.
You're the main character.
There's a thing where, she lifts her arm up to look at the wound and gets sprayed in the eyes with blood.
Ew.
And I was like, okay, that's pretty bad. That's not good.
Mm-hmm. I'm in no position to make an argument to the contrary. In fact, rational thinking is a struggle. Concussion. This much I know. Joanna attacked me, smashed that cylinder into my head, cut my arm, probably doing irreparable damage to veins and arteries.
No, you'll be fine.
And then Brutus and Anabaria showed up just before she had time to finish me off. The alliance is over. Then why would she be like, stay down?
Katniss.
The alliance is over. Finnick and Joanna must have had an agreement to turn on us tonight.
Katniss.
I knew we should have left this morning.
Katniss.
I don't know where BT stands, but I'm fair game, and so is PETA.
I understand why she's so untrusting. I get it. But Katniss.
Oh, you stupid boy. PETA. My eyes fly open in panic. PETA is waiting up by the tree, unsuspecting and off guard. Maybe Finnick has even killed him already, after saving his life.
Katniss. Katniss.
No, I whisper. That wire was cut from a short distance away by the careers. Finnick and BT and PETA. They can't know what's going on down here. They can only be wondering what has happened, why the wire has gone slack or maybe even sprung back to the tree. This in itself can't be a signal to kill, can it? Surely this was just Joanna deciding the time had come to break with us. Kill me, escape from the careers, then bring Finnick into the fight as soon as possible. I don't know. I only know that I must go back to PETA and keep him alive. It takes every ounce of will I have to push up into a sitting position and drag myself up the side of the tree to my feet. It's lucky I have something to hold on to because the jungle's tilting back and forth. So she throws up.
Fun. Gets sprayed in the
Blood
eyes.
sprays her in the face when she looks at her arm. That's gross.
And then she just kind of like claws her way back to the tree, right? And finds BT there, and BT has been badly wounded. I don't remember exactly what happens to him, though.
So she goes up.
Oh, yeah, Finnick's running around looking for her and Katniss and her and Joanna, and she's like, you wily bastard. I should have killed you when I had the chance.
Yeah, so he flies by, his skin shadowy with medicine. Is he injured?
They're all injured from earlier. They had the burns.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So he soon reaches the site of my attack, must see the blood. Joanna, Katniss. So she stays put.
Good thing she doesn't try to shoot. I doesn't have the bow right now.
Yeah, so she doesn't try to kill him, which is good.
Somebody dies.
So yeah, the boom of a cannon pulls me up short.
It's all very
Someone has
dramatic.
died.
It's all very sudden. Really
I know
kicks into
that with
overdrive
everyone
here.
running around armed and scared right now, it could be anybody. But whoever it is, I believe the death will trigger a kind of free-for-all out here in the night.
Katniss.
People will kill first and wonder about their motives later.
No. That's you with a needle in a minute.
I forced my legs into a run.
Or a week.
I think it's likely that the boom was because Katniss's tracker got cut out, right? So it registered her as dead.
Oh, yeah, I guess it could be. That makes sense. But they have cameras, so they know she's alive. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe Brutus is dead. I don't know, because Brutus, we don't see Brutus again. We see Anabaria again, but not Brutus.
We see Anabaria again, but not Brutus. That's true. It might be Brutus.
And I don't remember what they say at the end. They say Peta and Anabaria were taken captive. I don't know if Brutus was. I don't remember.
Unclear.
I would look it up, but if I touch Google,
I would kill you.
Everybody
I wouldn't kill you.
Well, come out of the walls, snatch my phone away,
upset.
and smash it to pieces.
So she sees
Which I
the
understand.
wire.
Oh yeah, she like trips in it, right?
Yeah, she trips over it. And at first she's thinks
like,
it's one of Finnick's.
He's got me.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no.
Finnick. Oh my God. Well, could be a Rue flashback.
I get it.
I guess,
No,
right?
Look, again, when I make fun of Katniss, I understand why she's having all these fears.
I mean, Nets are a bit triggering for her.
Yeah, of course
am I
they
right?
are. I totally get it. It's completely reasonable. I'm going to make it kind of funny because it's a podcast.
So yeah, she gets there. She hears a soft moan. BT! I hurry and kneel beside him. The moan must have been involuntary. He's not conscious, although I can see no wound except a gash below the crook of his elbow. I grab a nearby handful of moss and clumsily wrap it while I try to rouse him.
Man, she loves that moss shit.
She loves the moss. It's all she knows how to fucking do. She's no doctor. She's like, do you want some moss? Would moss help in this trying time? Would you like some Deus Ex Machina?
uh,
I think I've made that joke before, but about something completely different.
I don't care. It's still funny.
I don't care. I love it. BT, what's going on? Who cut you? BT, he's unconscious.
You're not going to get anything out of this
Why
guy.
would he answer? So he shakes him. She says, I shake him the way you should never shake an injured person.
She's funny as fuck, man.
But I don't know what else to do because she's 17.
She's real fun.
She's trained for nothing. This is when I notice he's holding a knife. One Peta was carrying earlier, I think, which is wrapped loosely in wire.
You might also hear the dog sleeping, by the way. If you hear breathing, that's that.
They never do.
Well, the one time I don't mention it, somebody's going to be like, why was Gus, like, desperately clawing for breath in the background? What was happening?
Well, Gus fell asleep like halfway through the podcast. Allie was just reading by herself.
He's this bullshit ass, you know.
I'm just saying. And every time we do this, people are like, more dog noises.
That's true.
So it's dog noises. So, perplexed, I stand and lift the wire, confirming it's attached back at the tree. It takes me a moment to remember the second, much shorter strand that BT wound around a branch and left on the ground before he even began his design on the tree. I thought it had some electrical significance and had been set aside to be used later, but it never was, because there's probably a good 20-25 yards here.
Yeah.
So then she squints up the hill and realizes they're only a few paces from the force field.
Yep.
There's the telltale square high up and to my right, just as it was this morning. What did BT do? Did he actually try to drive the knife into the force field the way Peta did by accident? And what's the deal with the wire? Was this his backup plan? If electrifying the water failed, did he mean to send the lightning bolt's energy into the force field?
Yes.
What would that do anyway?
Blow it up, apparently.
Nothing? A great deal?
Blow it up.
Fry us all?
Blow it up.
The force field must mostly be energy too, I guess. The one in the training center was invisible. This one seems to somehow mirror the jungle, but I've seen it falter when Peeta's knife struck it and when my arrows hit.
Chekhov's force field.
The real world lies right behind it.
Chekhov's force field. And
So-
she's trying to... Oh, Peeta shows up for a second, but then goes away? Anabaria and Finnick? It's just very confusing for a second here.
So Katniss! I hear his voice though he's a far distance away.
I think that's
But
on
what is he
purpose.
doing? Peeta must have figured out that everyone is hunting us by now. Katniss!
Or maybe they told him, like, one thing about the plan at the very end.
I can't protect him. I can't move as fast or far, and my shooting abilities are questionable at best. I do the one thing I can to draw the attackers away from him and over to me. Peeta! I scream out. Peeta! I'm here! Peeta! Yes, I will draw them in. Any in my vicinity, away from Peeta and over to me, and the lightning tree that will soon be a weapon in and of itself. I'm here! I'm here! He won't make it. Not with that leg in the night. He will never make it in time. Peeta! It's working. I can hear them coming, 2 of them crashing through the jungle. My knees start to give out and I sink down next to BT, resting my weight on my heels. My bow and arrow lift into position. If I can take them out, will Peeta survive the rest? Anabaria and Finnick reach the lightning tree. They can't see me sitting above them on the slope. My skin camouflage in ointment.
See, I was like, why the fuck are they together? And then I went, oh, they probably were just coming from the same place. He was coming to defend her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was coming to kill her. He was coming to defend her.
Mm-hmm.
I home in on Anabaria's neck. With any luck, when I kill her, Finnick will duck behind the tree for cover just as the lightning bolt strikes. And it will be any second. There's only a faint insect click here and there. I can kill them now. I can kill them both. Another cannon. Katniss!
Okay, so Brutus definitely died. Because there were 2 cannons. Did Chaff must have died, I guess?
Maybe. Or Joanna cut her own tracker out.
Yeah, I guess, but the cannon didn't go off right when she got the tracker out. The cannon went off like 10 minutes later.
Was it 10 minutes?
It was long enough.
Fast.
It was at least a minute. Those cannons are pretty on the ball.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. I feel like maybe it was kind of weird if Chaff just never showed up and then died.
Yeah, it would be weird. So Peeta yells for her. BT's still alive. And Katniss thinks he and I will soon die. Finnick and Anabaria will die. Peeta is alive.
Oh my god.
2 cannons have sounded. Brutus, Joanna, Chaff. 2 of them are already dead. That will leave Peeta with only 1 tribute to kill. And that is the very best I can do. 1 enemy. Enemy.
Good callback for yourself there.
The word is tugging at a recent memory.
You got it. Get him.
Pulling it into the present. The look on Haymitch's face. Katniss, when you're in the arena. What? You just remember who the enemy is. That's all. Haymitch's last words of advice to me. Why would I need reminding? I have always known who the enemy is, who starves and tortures and kills us in the arena, who will soon kill everyone I love. My bow drops as his meaning registers. Yes, I know who the enemy is. And it's not Anabaria. Finally, I see BT's knife with clear eyes. My shaking hand slide to the wire from the hilt, wind it around the arrow just above the feathers, and secure it with a knot picked up in training. I rise, turning to the force field, fully revealing myself but no longer caring, only caring about where I should direct my tip, where BT would have driven the knife if he'd been able to choose. My bow tilts up at the wavering square, the flaw, what did he call it that day? The chink in the armor. I let the arrow fly, see it hit its mark and vanish, pulling the thread of gold behind it. My hair stands on end and the lightning strikes the tree. A flash of white runs up the wire, and for just a moment, the dome bursts into a dazzling blue light. Pew. I'm thrown backward to the ground. Pew! Pew, 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 pew. Body useless. Petey's like...
Dog is like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
What the fuck was that? Pew! Can you pew? Pew! He's like, enough.
Let me go the fuck to sleep, you guys.
Enough of you.
Do you know what I've been doing all day? Nothing.
I taught him how to play hide and seek.
I just got into the treats.
I did teach him how to play hide and seek. Basically,
yes,
I put him into a stay, and then I go hide, and I yell, "Where's mommy?" And then he runs and finds me. And it's so damn cute. Anyway, let us know if you want to see that on our Instagram. A flash of white runs up the wire, and for just a moment... Oh, I already did this.
You did. That's okay.
Feathery bits of matter rain down on me.
Pew. What is the matter? What happened? What is this?
The arrow.
Force field is energy. Oh, okay.
I can't reach PETA. I can't even reach my pearl.
Oh.
My eyes strain to capture one last image of beauty to take with me. Right before the explosions begin, I find a star.
That's adorable.
Her pearl. Chapter 27.
Yes.
What notes do you have
All
for
right.
us?
Called that too. Katniss, stop thinking about murdering. There's a rebellion. Oh, wait, that was two different notes. It was Katniss, stop thinking about murdering. There's a rebellion. Show us PETA, you fuckers. Don't do this to me, my poor heart. In my defense, I could not have puzzled out 24 equals midnight, 3 equals day 3. Oh, okay. District 13 is just a thing. This is kind of sudden.
Well, they kind of had confirmed that.
Yeah, but it's one thing to be like, oh, it's still there after it was bombed into the dirt, and another thing to be like, and they have hovercrafts, and they're technologically on par with the Capitol, and they've been underground
they were
this whole
the
time.
nuke district.
I know. Oh, right, the tracker. Fuck. Now Gale's here, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Is the fuck about PETA?
The fuck was about PETA.
Yes, poor PETA.
It's really funny because, like, I was lamenting when I learned that PETA had been taken away, and then I read the last line where he's like, and they destroyed the entire district, and I was like, yep, yeah, that makes sense. I had like no reaction to that, and you were like, oh my god, can you believe they blew up Appalachia?
And I went, freaked out that they blew up Appalachia.
But then I went, wait, because I was still reeling from the fact that PETA was in jail. Then I went, oh my god, as you all heard a few minutes ago. Mm-hmm. All right, take it away.
Everything seems to erupt at once. The earth explodes into showers of dirt and plant matter.
Pew,
pew, pew, pew, pew, pew, pew, pew, pew, pew. Trees burst into flames. Even the sky fills with brightly colored blossoms of light. I can't think of why the sky's being bombed until I realize the game makers are shooting off fireworks up there while the real destruction occurs on the ground. Just in case it's not enough fun watching the obliteration of the arena and the remaining tributes. Or perhaps to illuminate our gory ends. Will they let anyone survive? Will there be a victor of the 75th Hunger Games?
It's fine, Katniss.
Maybe not. After all, what is this quarter quell but... What was it President Snow read from the card? A reminder to the rebels that even the strongest among them cannot overcome the power of the Capitol.
Man, you're dumb as hell.
Power.
You're so fucking stupid, dude.
Not even the strongest of the strong will triumph. Perhaps they never intended to have a victor in these games at all. Or perhaps my final act of rebellion forced their hand. I'm sorry, PETA, I think. I'm sorry I couldn't save you. Save him. More likely I stole his last chance at life, condemned him by destroying the force field.
No, it's fine.
Maybe if we had played by the rules, they might have let him live.
No.
Nah. The hovercraft materializes above me without warning. If it was quiet and a mockingjay perched close at hand, I would have heard the jungle go silent and then the bird's call that precedes the appearance of the Capitol's aircraft. But my ears would never make out anything so delicate in this bombardment. The claw drops from the underside until it's directly overhead. The metal talons slide under me. The claw.
I know.
The claw is our master. It decides who will go and who will stay. I want to scream, run, smash my way out of it, but I'm frozen, helpless to do anything but fervently hope I'll die before I reach the shadowy figures awaiting me above. They have not spared my life to crown me victor, but to make my death as slow and public as possible. My worst fears are confirmed when the face that greets me from inside the hovercraft belongs to Plutarch Havensby, head game maker. What a mess I have made of his beautiful games with the clever ticking clock and the field of victors.
Yeah, he's cool.
He will suffer for his failure, probably lose his life, but not before he sees me punished. She is a bad read on people, to be honest.
Really, I love her, but
his hand reaches for me. One of the worst, honestly. I think to strike me, but he does something worse. With his thumb and forefinger, he slides my eyelids shut, sentencing me to the vulnerability of darkness.
Katniss.
They can do anything to me now, and I will not even see it coming.
Bud.
Sorry. Katniss's brain is kind of hilarious right now. When you know everything's going to be fine, you're like, my girl, breathe.
Deep breath.
Katniss, my God. My heart pounds so hard the blood begins to stream from beneath my blood-soaked moss bandage. God, she loves that moss. This podcast is brought to you by moss.
Apparently, moss.
Moss.
Just when you thought you had it all, moss sprang into action. Because it's spongy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Moss. It's a mossing.
That's great. That's good. That's that one. I like that one.
Now we'll officially be their sponsor. Or have them be our sponsor.
Wheel of Time has alum. Apparently, The Hunger Games has moss.
Mm-hmm. My thoughts grow foggy. Possibly I can bleed to death before they revive me after all. In my mind, I whisper a thank you to Joanna Mason for the excellent wound she inflicted as I black out. Oh, now you like Joanna. When I swim back to semi-consciousness, I can feel I'm lying on a padded table. There's the pinching sensation of tubes in my left arm. They're trying to keep me alive because if I slide quietly, privately into death, it will be a victory. My God.
You know, I get it. It's totally fair, but at the same time, Katniss, as the reader,
I'm still largely unable to move. Open my eyelids, raise my head. But my right arm has regained a little motion. It flops across my body, feeling like a flipper. No, something less animated, like a club. Honestly, this is me when the fibro really hits. Am I right? Fibromyalgia. It's fun. Highly recommend. I have no real motor coordination, no proof that I even still have fingers.
You do.
You're she
fine.
Rips her tubes out. Ow. And the beeping goes off, but I can't stay awake to find out who it will summon. They should have been summoned a lot faster, let me tell you.
Yeah, honestly, like, somebody should have been there with her, like, maybe...
Like, I get that people sleep for a long time and, like, shit happens, but maybe don't leave her...
Leave a note, leave something like, hey, it's fine. And don't be freaked out.
It's gonna be okay, Katniss. Love, Haymitch. Don't kill your roommate. So she surfaces again because she falls asleep. And directly across from me, I see BT with about 10 different machines hooked up to him. Just let us die! I scream in my mind.
It's so dramatic.
I slam my head back hard on the table and go out again.
When you read this when you were a teenager, did you know what was happening? Or were you like...
No, I was like so confused.
You were like right there with Katniss. Because I think it's totally fair to be right there with Katniss.
I was totally right there with Katniss.
I appreciate that the way
But in hindsight, this is dramatic as fuck.
Yeah. The way that I'm reading this book is atypical because, as I've mentioned while gnashing my teeth before, everybody I've talked to who's like, oh yeah, I liked your Hunger Games episodes. I read the entire book series in a week. Mm-hmm. So like going through it at this pace with a fine-tooth comb is not normal.
No.
You know, I think you can definitely pick this out. I'm just saying, I also understand missing it.
So she said...
Because it is kind of a twist. Sorry, I was just thinking. Like, last book, it was all exactly as expected laid out. But this is kind of a twist.
Do you think Joanna... Do you think Suzanne Collins is going to introduce twists?
Suze? Yes.
Are there going to be twists? So she's alone except for BT, and she thinks, where are the others then? Peeta, Finnick, and Obaria, and one more, right? Either Joanna or Chaff or Brutus was still alive when the bombs began. I'm sure they want to make an example of us all. But where have they taken them? Moved them from hospital to prison? And she thinks about Peeta. Oh, and then she goes, there are a few syringes sealed in sterile plastic on a table near BT's bed. Perfect. All I'll need is air and a clear shot at one of his veins. Good fuck. I pause for a moment, consider killing BT. Good thing you didn't. But if I do, the monitors will start beeping and I'll be caught before I get to Peeta. I make a silent promise to return and finish him off if I can. So she's wearing a nightgown. She kind of slips out into the hallway. Nobody seems to notice that she did that, which is poor planning. And she hears someone talking. She flattens herself against the wall and listens. Communications are down in 7, 10, and 12. But 11 has control of transportation now, so there's at least hope of them getting some food out. Plutarch Havensby, I think.
There he is.
Although I've only really spoken with him once. A hoarse voice asks a question. No, I'm sorry. There's no way I can get you to 4, but I've given special orders for her retrieval if possible. It's the best I can do, Finnick. Finnick. My mind struggles to make sense of the conversation, of the fact that it's taking place between Plutarch Havensby and Finnick. Is he so near and dear to the capital that he'll be excused for his crimes? Or did he really have no idea what BT intended? He croaks out something else, something heavy with despair. Don't be stupid. That's the worst thing you could do. Get her killed for sure. As long as you're alive, they'll keep her alive for bait.
It's true.
Says Hamish. I bang through the door and stumble into the room. Hamish, Plutarch, and a very beat-up Finnick sit around a table laid with a meal no one is eating.
And Katniss's brain goes...
Done knocking yourself out, sweetheart?
Oh, she loves doing that.
So it's you and a syringe against the capital? See, this is why no one lets you make the plans. Drop it. So then he kind of forces her to release the syringe.
This is why no one lets you make the plans is one of the funniest lines in the entire book.
So then Plutarch says in a very nice way, Eat. Katniss, I'm going to explain what happened. I don't want you to ask any questions until I'm through. Do you understand? So she nods, and this is what he tells her. There was a plan to break us out of the arena from the moment the quell was announced. The victor tributes from 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 11 had varying degrees of knowledge about it. Damn, that's like all of them. Okay, anyway. Plutarch Havensby has been, for several years, part of an undercover group aiming to overthrow the capital. He made sure the wire was among the weapons. BT was in charge of blowing a hole in the force field. The bread we received in the arena was code for the time of the rescue.
That's a lot.
Why is that a lot?
I don't know. It makes sense.
You're just mad you didn't figure it out. Okay.
I'm not mad I didn't figure it out.
The district where the bread originated indicated the day, 3. The number of rolls, the hour, 24. The hovercraft belongs to District 13.
It makes sense because I'm sure that they told BT to be on the lookout for a message. That makes perfect sense. Unless it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying it's very, very well coded.
Very well. Bonnie and Twill, the women I met in the woods from 8, so this is where your explanation was, were right about its existence and its defense capabilities.
I'm not saying that it came out.
It was there.
I'm not saying there was no foreshadowing for it. I'm saying to go from
Suzanne Collins of sloppiness.
To go from, oh, they might be covering something up to, and here's the rebel base. I guess it works. It makes perfect sense in the universe of in universe. I'm just saying that for me, I'm kind of like, huh, well, what the fuck have they been doing for 75 years?
They're in a hostile standoff. But they don't know the people from the other districts. So, like, why would they do anything about it? Because I'm sure they don't know whether or not they're happy that way.
Sure, no, all right,
Plus,
sure.
how would they, like, that would put them at severe risk, especially after they got bombed to shit.
You're right.
Yeah. We are currently on a very roundabout journey to District 13. Meanwhile, most of the districts in Panem are in full-scale rebellion.
Yay! Hold on.
You didn't tell me. Neither you nor PETA were told. We couldn't risk it, says Plutarch. I was even worried you might mention my indiscretion with the watch during the games.
That was kind of sloppy, dude.
Of course, when I showed you this, I was merely tipping you off about the arena. As a mentor, I thought it might be a first step toward gaining your trust. I never dreamed you'd be a tribute again. So it wasn't sloppy. The plans changed.
I know.
I still don't understand why PETA and I weren't in on the plan. Because once the force field blew, you'd be the first one they'd try to capture, and the less you knew, the better.
See, but the thing is, they also then ran the risk of Katniss running the other way and, like, killing everybody else. I am nitpicking. I'm very happy with how this turned out. I love the ending.
Well, except for PETA.
That is a good hook.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me scream.
The first ones, why?
Don't toast the bread boy.
For the same reason the rest of us agreed to die to keep you alive, says Finnick. No, Joanna tried to kill me. Katniss, are you still on this? Joanna knocked you out to cut the tracker from your arm and lead Brutus and Anabaria away from you. What? I don't know what you're... We had to save you because you're the Mockingjay, Katniss. While you live, the revolution lives.
I'm happy I was wrong about PETA is Mark Antony, but he also kind of is Mark Antony.
So she realizes she's the symbol of rebellion. It's what I suspected in the woods when I found Bonnie and Twill escaping, though I never really understood the magnitude. But then I wasn't meant to understand. I think if Haymitch is sneering at my plans to flee District 12, start my own uprising, even the very notion that District 13 should exist, subterfuges and deceptions. And if he could do that, behind his mask of sarcasm and drunkenness, so convincingly and for so long, what else has he lied about? I know what else. PETA. The others kept PETA alive because if he died, we knew there'd be no keeping you in the Alliance.
That's true.
And we couldn't risk leaving you unprotected.
I do think it would have been kind of funny if PETA had been in on the plan, but Katniss had not been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just a little bit.
His words are matter of fact, his expression unchanged, but he can't hide the tinge of gray that colors his face. Where is PETA? He was picked up by the Capitol, along with Joanna and Enobaria.
Yeah, so Joanna's fine, Enobaria's fine, PETA's fine, Finnick's fine, BT's fine, Katniss is fine, so the two cannons must have been Chaff and Brutus.
Yeah, it must have been.
Or, I guess, the trackers, but that doesn't really...
So she says, technically, I am unarmed, but no one should ever underestimate the harm that fingernails can do, especially if the target is unprepared. You hear that, ladies?
It's true.
It's true.
This is for self-defense only.
Oh yeah, only for self-defense.
Just in case someone is like, why are you telling it? Anyway.
I'm not suggesting women just attack men at random. Could you imagine? Horrible. Don't do that. So I lunge across the table and rake mine down Haymitch's face, causing blood to flow and damage to one eye. Jesus, Katniss!
Bit much, girl.
Then we are both screaming terrible, terrible things at each other, and Finnick is trying to drag me out, and I know it's all Haymitch can do not to rip me apart, but I'm the Mockingjay. I'm the Mockingjay, and it's too hard keeping me alive as it is. Other hands help Finnick, and I'm back on my table, my body restrained, my wrists tied down, so I slam my head in fury again and again against the table.
Stop doing that!
And
that is so stupid!
So many head injuries. A needle pokes my arm, and my head hurts so badly I stop fighting and simply wail in a horrible, dying animal way until my voice gives out. The drug causes sedation, not sleep, so I'm trapped in a fuzzy, dully aching misery for what seems like always. They reinsert their tubes and talk to me in soothing voices that never reach me. All I can think of is PETA, lying on a similar table somewhere while they try to break him for information he doesn't even have.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Katniss, I'm sorry. Finnick's voice comes from the bed next to me and slips into my consciousness. Perhaps because we're in the same kind of pain. I wanted to go back for him and Joanna, but I couldn't move. I don't answer. Finnick O'Dare's good intentions mean less than nothing. It's better for him than Joanna. They'll figure out he doesn't know anything pretty fast, and they won't kill him if they think they can use him against you. Like bait. Like how they'll use Annie for bait, Finnick.
You don't have to be a dick about it.
I can hear him weeping, but I don't care. They probably won't even bother to question her. She's so far gone. Gone right off the deep end years ago in her games. There's a good chance I'm headed in the same direction. Maybe I'm already going crazy and no one has the heart to tell me. I feel crazy enough. I wish she was dead, he says. I wish they were all dead and we were too. It would be best. Well, there's no good response to that.
No, there's not.
She said, no, she literally says,
yeah.
Well, there's no good response to that. I can hardly dispute it, since I was walking around with a syringe to kill PETA when I found him. Do I really want him dead? What I want is to have him back. But I'll never get him back now. Even if the rebel forces could somehow overthrow the Capitol, you can be sure President Snow's last act would be to cut PETA's throat. No, I will never get him back. So then dead is best. But will PETA know that, or will he keep fighting? He's so strong and such a good liar. Does he think he has a chance of surviving? Does he even care if he does? He wasn't planning on it anyway. He had already signed off on life. Maybe if he knows I was rescued, he's even happy. Feels he fulfilled his mission to keep me alive. I think I hate him even more than I do Haymitch. I give up. Stop speaking, responding, refuse food and water. They can pump whatever they want into my arm, but it takes more than that to keep a person going once she's lost the will to live.
Jesus. What are you Padmaying over here? Come on. Like, look, yes, I understand. Again, before I get, Katniss is perfect. Yes, I get it. I understand. It's completely fair. It's all completely fair. You have more important things going on.
As someone who has been through deep grief. It does make you feel like you're going insane.
Yes, I understand. But you were
Absolutely
not the
makes you feel like you're
figurehead of a
cracking.
national rebellion at the point. I get it. I totally understand. It's completely fair. I'm also frustrated with her. It's both.
Both are allowed. We allow hot nuance on this podcast. Both things can be true. We can hold space for what she's going through while also going, oh my fucking God, though, we need you.
So go get him
Pull
back.
it together.
Like, yeah, I get it.
So I even have a funny notion that if I do die, maybe PETA will be allowed to live. That's not true.
No, that's called survivor's guilt.
Not as a free person, but as an AVOX or something waiting on the future tributes of District 12. Yeah, that's better. Then maybe he could find some way to escape. My death could, in fact, save him. No.
Katniss.
If it can't, no matter. It's enough to die of spite.
Oh my
to
God.
punish Haymitch, who, of all the people in this rotting world, has turned PETA and me into pieces in his games.
I don't think it
I
was
trusted him. I put what was precious in Haymitch's hand,
didn't.
and he has betrayed me.
He
See,
didn't.
this is why no one lets you make the plans, he said. That's true. No one in their right mind would let me make the plans because I obviously can't tell a friend from an enemy. You were trying to
kill
she can't, but in
BT.
the other way.
Yeah,
she
you can't do. You were trying to fucking kill Finnick. You thought Joanna was trying to. He's right. Sorry.
A lot of people come by to talk to me, but I make all their words sound like the clicking of the insects in the jungle, meaningless and distant, dangerous, but only if approached. Whenever the words start to become distinct, I moan until they give me more painkiller, and that fixes things right up. Until one time, I open my eyes and find someone I cannot block out looking down at me. Someone who will not plead, or explain, or think he can alter my design with entreaties, because he alone really knows how I operate. Gale. Hey, Catnip.
Because I've had enough of this dude.
That's how I feel.
Actually, we should add that to the sound rotation, to be honest. It's not so much a question of forgetting PETA as remembering the others. All it takes is one look at Gale, and they come surging into the present, demanding to be acknowledged.
No, this is important here because it was like, Katniss, you have like a family and shit.
Yeah.
And, you have like a rebellion to figurehead. And again, it's, as with Kudzu Everdeen, it's fair.
This was Kudzu
It's still
Everdeen.
frustrating.
I love that we're calling her mom Kudzu Everdeen.
Well, that's her name now. It's Kudzu Everdeen. I think it's also different because it's like, I don't know.
Kudzu Everdeen. I forgot we came up with that.
Yeah, Kudzu Everdeen.
All right, so Kudzu Everdeen. So Prim, she's alive. So is Kudzu. I got them out in time.
See, what's funny is you spent like the entire, at this wedding, you kept turning to me and being like, what do you think? Is Prim alive? And I was like, yes. Gale said it. And you went, oh.
I forgot.
What about her mom? And I went, yes.
I forgot.
That's okay.
They're not in District 12. After the games, they sent in planes, dropped firebombs. Well, you know what happened to the Hob. I do know. I saw it go up.
Greasy Say over there.
That old warehouse.
Actually,
embedded
they
with
didn't
coal
even
dust.
bomb the Hob. Greasy Say just lit a candle.
Because she's greasy.
Yeah.
It always went up in the grease. This one time, my dad was trying to light a fire in my stepmom's, back when they were dating, my stepmom's fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept not lighting. And so he kept turning the gas up.
No,
and
don't
up.
do that.
And finally, it went, whoom, and like went at his face, burned off his beard, his mustache, and his eyebrows.
Well, that's not good.
It's not good, but it was hilarious. Okay. Because he was fine. Other than that, it just burned off his hair and like some of his hair. Like it wasn't burned, it just burned the hair.
That's funny.
A new kind of horror begins to rise up inside me as I imagine firebombs hitting the seam. They're not in District 12? I repeat, as if saying it will somehow fend off the truth. Katniss. I recognize that voice. It's the same one he uses to approach wounded animals before he delivers a death blow. I instinctively raise my hand to block his words, but he catches it and holds on tightly. Don't. But Gale is not one to keep secrets from me. Katniss, there is no District 12. And that is the end of book to
It's a good book,
Catching
man.
Fire.
It's a good book. It's real good. It's good. It's good. It's real good. Can't wait for book 3, which is going to be completely fucking different because it's a whole ass rebellion and doesn't have the framework of a games in it. I have full expectation. Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm going to hate everything about it and be miserable the entire time. If anything happens to Peeta, I'm throwing the books in the trash.
Any predictions for what District 13 might be like?
Magical, cool, utopia place, I guess. I don't know. It seems like it's great. It seems like it's a big-ass fucking town full of people with cool technology and is generally, just not shitty. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very unlike the other two. I have no doubt. But how much do I get to do? You have other questions for me first? Sorry.
No, I don't. Gleefully
How
ask
much
me.
do I get to read?
Oh, you're so
I want to read more.
If you are reading along with us...
We're going to take a week off, because we always do that.
Yes, we always take a week off in between books because, well, Gus needs to read.
And we're busy and tired.
And we're so tired. Oh my God, we just got back from Wedding Get In.
Yeah.
We have 4 weddings that we went to this month. It was a lot.
Yeah.
One every weekend.
Yeah.
And they were not local.
No.
So we are tired and broke.
Yeah.
And have used up all of our vacation time.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But
so,
what are we reading?
We are going to read chapters 1 through the end of 4.
Okay, that's probably fine. All right, great.
4 chapters.
I'm going to go do
That's
that.
a lot of chapters.
It is.
I gave you some good amounts.
You did. It's good. I'm going to go read it.
We're going to read chapters 1 through 4, and we will see you in a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. This has been Wheel Takes Podcast. If you want to remain in touch with us in some way, we have Twitter. We have all kinds of social media. All the information for that is down below. We also have a merch store. If you want to purchase some merch to support us, you could also leave a rating and a review. If you want to support us that way, that's super helpful. Or we also have a Patreon with special bonus things. If you want to support us that way, we will likely be doing a live reaction. We'll probably be doing a live reaction YouTube video for a
some
patron
chapters.
exclusive thing to some chapters of Mockingjay. So that's a great way to get involved. Otherwise, do you have anything else, Gus?
Allie has a new podcast that just started. That's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Hot Nuance Book Club, and it's her and Bree, who we mention all the fucking time, and Aradia, who is from the Watt Spoilers podcast, if you know that one.
Bree is one half of
Kit Rocha, yes.
the writing duo.
And they read a book called Exiles, Volume 1, The Ruins of Empire by Melanie Ron. And it's really good, and I'm reading it along with them and having a fucking blast. You should check that out, and it's linked down below. Aww. And other than that, don't toast the bread boy. Thanks.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye.